Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And with us here, guest of the show, special guest of the show, we've got Jack Islesden from IslesHouse podcast. How are you, Jack?
Good. How we doing?
Man, I tell you, we meet here on much better terms than the last time I think we podcast. And we talked about it before the show. Last podcast we'd done live, it was the evening that Matt Barzal shattered his kneecap and wound up missing the rest of the season. And we talk about things now, right? Lou Lamoriello has been canned. We've won the draft lottery. Things are looking up. Things are great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, much better than winning 7 straight for you guys.
Yes, absolutely. For those who know the show, we welcome you here. Come on in, sit right down. This is an All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Saturday. I'd say it's around 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was late this evening. I had a wedding I was attending, so I'll take the blame. That's why we're starting at 9:40 Eastern Standard Time. But usually we're around 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the start time. So if you're new to the show and you like the content that we produce, there's a few things that I encourage that you do. I encourage that you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes and live streams. And also, if you like the content, you hit the little bing thumbs up. If you hit the thumbs up, it lets myself, the grumpy old man, and X, when he occasionally shows up on the job, know that you like the content that we produce. And also, bang, it helps the algorithm, helps juice the algo. And also, we do have a few more pieces of housekeeping. We do have an all sports podcast called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It can be found in the link in the description below or as a featured page here on our YouTube channel. We talk on that show anything and everything Islanders, or anything and everything sports. My mistake. So that's NHL, that's NBA, that's MLB, that's NFL, that's college athletics, literally anything and everything sports on that show. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. You could find it in the link in the description below. The other thing that's linked in the description below, you've got all of Jack's social media handles there, at least his, the Islanders, social medias that he has. So you've got the Islesden Twitter page, you've got the podcast, you've got his YouTube channel, you've got IslesHouse Twitter. So you can find everything in the link in the description below. But in case you're wondering, did I scroll across the right page? He's got that amazing mugshot of Josh Bailey, the Islanders legend. Isn't that right, Grumpy?
Horrible. That will never change. Horrible.
Never. God almighty. Never. I'd say the animosity towards Josh Bailey's gone because I never have to hear him or think about him anymore. So I don't have any sort of animosity anymore. Grumpy, on the other hand, he still may have some animosity built up for Josh Bailey.
He doesn't even exist. I've already blanked him from my memory. That's what we needed. Some time to pass, and then we could all appreciate it.
Like I said, as soon as he was gone off the team, done and dusted. I only wasted time on him because he was so miserable. That's all. He's gone. I wish him well.
Is that going to be like? Is that going to be like Lou Lamoriello now, Grumpy? Now that he's gone, done and dusted,
he's literally probably close to being done and dusted.
Oh, Grumpy, come on!
He's going to be 83 years old pretty soon. Come on. He's certainly on the back nine, right? We can all admit that.
You see that video of him walking the other day, though? He was looking pretty good for an 83-year-old.
I think that was a fake video.
I think that was from a while ago.
Yeah, probably.
That was AI, Grumpy?
I all this stuff that you're seeing out there, it's all lies. All of it.
Well, I think that's a good segue right off the bat. Since our last show, right? We went live on Wednesday. We did a little emergency podcast after the Islanders won the draft lottery. It seems, again, Islanders still do not have a general manager named or announced, not even a head of hockey operations. So there's a lot of rumors swirling around the Islanders social media, Islanders sphere. Some just sound absolutely outlandish. Like one is, hey, Lou Lamoriello may still be involved with the team going forward. He's going to be a senior advisor, or he's going to be serving some role and capacity to help groom the new GM. And I just thought to myself, there's no way in hell that's even possible.
Okay. I just want everyone who's listening to this, I see some of the comments here that are saying, oh, no, this can't be true about Lou. Well, I just think about any business. Any business. You fire someone because they're incompetent, couldn't do the job. You want to totally change direction from the Mickey Mouse operation that one guy was running. You want to get away from that. He's been canned. He's gone. Then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, well, he's in the running to come back. Okay. Let's say any business you're in, you just had your manager. You wanted to get rid of him. 2 weeks later, it's like, well, we haven't hired anybody yet, so we're going to have this guy who's just failed, total failure, ruin the whole, he New Jersey deviled the whole operation. And what are you going to do? You're going to put him in charge of looking for a general manager and put him on the top of the ivory tower? Rationally, if you just look at it without ridiculous tweets that have been put out, which are lies, by the way. Take off the orange and blue glasses. Do you think that's even possible that something like that's going to happen? You just got rid of the guy 3 weeks ago, and you want to put him in charge of hiring his replacement, and he's going to be over the top. And that means he would keep Fredo as well in the whole minor league system, which is the worst in the history of hockey. I'm going to take it one step further. It's the worst in the history of the planet. Not just hockey, any operation. It's just not true. Just not true. I don't think these guys did any investigative work. I think they saw this in the Twitter sphere somewhere, and they just ran with it because they're lazy. They didn't do actual legwork. They're just lazy. So, and then one guy, that's the way media is today, right? One guy says, oh, it must be true. Bam, throw it out there. No one actually fact checks anything. Just make it up, and then they all run with it. Fake news.
Let me ask you this, Jack. Do you put any sort of credence behind the rumors that Lou Lamoriello may still be involved with the organization after being fired?
The first source I saw it from, absolutely not. The second one, which was Arthur Staple, there's only one reason why I can see a little bit of truth to it. And do you guys remember around the trade deadline when, it was just being reported that teams weren't calling about Brock Nelson, they didn't want to even talk about Brock Nelson because they were nervous about crossing Lou and all of this. So a part of me thinks I think they've had almost 3 weeks since they announced he's not coming back.
Yeah.
Why? It feels like, so Kenny Holland, it sounds like he rejected the role. It sounds like Bergevin, I don't know what's going on with him, but it doesn't sound like that's close either. I'm starting to think is Lou's presence on the team website, still being around at some capacity before his contract expires. Like, is another GM like not taking this job because of Lou being around still, and they just they don't want to quote unquote cross him. It's just a weird situation. Like, I think things would start to get done once he's dismissed, but him just being around it, I feel like it's having an impact.
Is this, Grumpy? Is this like George Steinbrenner and the Billy Martin relationship that they had so many years ago? Maybe we'll fire Lou, we'll bring him right back on, we'll fire him, and we'll bring him right back again. Maybe Lou will be here until the day he dies. Maybe only 15 to 20 years of Lou's reign, Grumpy.
No. There's no. Just think about how you'd be viewed around the league. Just think about it.
A joke.
An absolute joke. It's not true. It's not true. It's just not true. So everyone get off the panic button. It's just not true.
Yeah.
To me, Bergevin and Holland, I think they're both probably looking at that Kings job. One guy's going to get it. The other one's not. The other one's going to be available. Darsh, we know, interviewed for the general manager job. That means you'd have to have somebody over the top of him. It's not going to be Lou Lamoriello. It will not be Lou Lamoriello. You don't get rid of that guy and then bring him back in any way, shape, or form. You just don't do that. You don't do that. It's just no. You wouldn't have fired him. You just would have kicked him upstairs to begin with, right? And I just don't. Lou is scared. It's just a specter. No one's scared of that old man. Nobody. Oh no. We don't want to upset Lou. Oh, what about the Vancouver draft? Somebody leaked that, so they're not trading that first-round pick for JT Miller. Just stop. He's getting fleeced in every deal that he's made in recent times. And here's the thing. If there's any other reason why management should know this is not the guy that we want continuing, he wouldn't have made any changes at the deadline unless Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson's a hero Islander country. He forced himself to get traded. Otherwise, he would have just been stuck there.
Yep. That's
in a nutshell. No. Sorry. See you later. And Matthew Snyder, got to be Matthew Snyder, right? Oh, well, I guess we'll touch on that. We'll touch on that too.
But
because that's bothering me too.
You mentioned about the laughing stock the Islanders would be perceived as. Seriously, if you fire somebody and 3 weeks later are like, actually, we're going to go ahead and keep you on in some capacity and roll. I cannot fathom there's a situation to where they do that. I will tell you, I immediately will start jumping back on the ownership group as a joke.
I changed the channel. Click. No interest watching that product. None. Zero. Nada.
Even though we won the lottery, Grumpy, you click it off.
He probably picked James Higgins at number 1 overall.
Maybe he'd trade the pick away.
He traded James Higgins. That's what
he'd trade the pick away to add an aged veteran of 30 years old to help us compete for right now. That would have Lou's MO written all over it. Get rid of Dobson at the same time, bring in a grizzly vet to help bolster our defense.
It's not going to be Lou Lamoriello. They did what did Staple do? He put out a list of guys. I'm like, and had Lamoriello third. I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? It's like, what's the thought process?
He's got to be checked out. I cannot. And again, like Chris Botta starts, if Staples tweeting that must have some credence behind it. Okay, you're putting him 3rd or 4th on the list. Hey, guess what? I'm throwing out here Barry Trotz is number 4 on the list. Why? Because number 4 on the list, I could just start throwing anything out there that I want. There's no shot hell Barry Trotz is coming to the Islanders. Just like there's no shot that Lou Lamoriello sticks around as a GM here.
How would the interview go to rehire him for the job? How would that interview go? You begged us for a job. You were crying to keep your job. You threw Patrick Waugh under the bus. You hate Patrick Waugh. How would that work? You think they're firing Patrick Waugh? They're not. He hates Lou. Everyone hates Lou. So what are we going to do? How many people get run our front office? 3. The lady who takes the phone calls, Lou, and then Pellegrini. That's it? That's your whole front office? And what are you going to do with the minor league franchise? The minor league organization has just been running to the ground. Like I said, he leaves death and destruction everywhere he goes. Time to move on. Cut the cord. Like I said, it's a lie. I know, believe me, I've heard some things. It's a lie. It's absolutely a lie. And all the media, the gutless, do-nothing media, just ran with it because it's easy. It's easy.
Well, I will say, Jack's. I do side with you, but Jack actually brought up a valid point. Is that the reason why we haven't had a new GM listed yet and a new GM named yet? Because in some capacity, Lou is going to have his meddling in here with his fingers all over the place. Could that be the reason why we've been without a GM now for 3 weeks? We just won the draft lottery, sitting on our hands and doing nothing and not installing your group and your people does not seem like the right course of action. We need to have something listed sooner or later, but is the reason why we're not having a new GM listed yet is because Lou may have his fingers on this. I did like that. That's like some
He's not part of the organization anymore.
That's a
I found it really weird that he was removed from the team website the day they had the announcement, and they put him back on. Like, why would you put him
until the end of the month? Because he's still an employee till the end of the month. He's technically.
But why is that? Why do they care about that detail? Like, you're leaving at the end of the month. They removed you from the website. Why are you back on that website? It's fine to be off. Like, you're leaving in a month. I don't get that.
Because they have 3 people working in the front office and some intern accidentally deleted the names. Like, oh, put that back up. Okay, click, put it back up. They still have the same old picture from 1941, and they just slid that back up there. No.
To me, it's a small sign that like he's still in there and that he's got some level of control, because nobody else would want his thing back up there.
He has no control. He's fired. He's gone. He's not part of the organization. He was let go. He's gone. He's gone.
Let me ask you this. I do want to ask you this, Grumpy. Let's say I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine this. You wake up next week on a Friday. It's a good start to the weekend on Friday. You wake up. The news comes rolling around. Grumpy rolls out of bed. The news comes rolling around. Update. Lou Lamoriello, in stunning fashion, has been reinstated as Islanders general manager.
Oh, my God.
What would your reaction be, Grumpy?
I'm not watching the product anymore. I won't watch it. I won't watch it. It means you know what? The team is a loser. It's a loser organization. I'm not going to invest my time. At my age, I'm not going to invest my time in that. Just not happening. Believe me, there's a lot of other teams I'd rather watch in this iteration of the New York Islanders. I watch them out of loyalty, not for anything like. Go ahead,
TJ might be okay with it just for your reaction, I think.
No, I'd be done with it. It's just it would. Just when I think the Islanders can't become more pathetic than they are, if they reinstated Lou Lamoriello back as general manager,
okay, I'm going to tell
all of his inadequacies and all of his failures are just completely excused.
I'm just going to tell you again.
I can't do that.
Just going to tell you again. It's a lie. All that stuff is a lie where somebody put out a tweet and everybody ran with it. There was no fact checking. None of it. Have you heard of any Lou Lamoriello interviews? Has anyone said Lou Lamoriello was interviewed for this job? No. Because he was fired. You've heard that Bergevin's been interviewed, Holland's been interviewed, Darsh has been interviewed, but you haven't heard anything about Kakalainen is in the process of being interviewed. Have you heard about Lou Lamoriello being interviewed? No. Why? Because he was fired.
He did reject an interview, though. I saw that.
Who did?
Hold on. Lou has been offered interviews with other teams.
I think he was offered an interview to be an advisor for the Buffalo Sabres. I think that was a report. You never know you never know who you can trust, but I'll look into it. Let me check.
What does it tell you? The only franchise more dysfunctional than the New York Islanders are the Buffalo Sabres. You're at the bottom of the freaking barrel. And here's the thing. The Sabres just hired Eric Stahl. He's going to be like an assistant to the general manager. Kevin Adams is going to be gone.
Eric Stahl used to play for the Carolina Hurricanes. Has he been out of the league for like one season?
A couple of years.
Yeah.
Didn't waste much time.
Well, you know what, though? Here's the thing. What's Buffalo doing? Kevin Adams, bye-bye. Bye, Kevin Adams. This guy's going to learn on the job, and see you later, Kevin Adams. He will not last the year. How's that Dylan Cousins trade work out for him? Yikes.
Not so great.
I did not understand that trade.
This is what it is, Grumpy. We all know how unbelievably accurate David Pagnotta is. This is Jack said.
Never know what to believe, man.
I heard Buffalo approach both Lou Lamoriello and Ken Holland, but neither seem interested in an advisory role.
Okay. If he was still in the mix or still employed by the Islanders, would they not have to go to the Islanders and say, we ask you to seek permission for him to interview for a job? But it didn't happen. You have to go to the team. You can't go to the person. Ken Holland is unemployed. That's why they can approach him. Lou Lamoriello, unemployed. A guy with a freaking cup in his hand on a street corner looking for nickels. That's what he is. He's unemployed. He's not part of the Islander organization.
Grumpy.
How easily the youngsters are fooled by this stupidity. It scares me.
I would kind of like to see your reaction, though, if it's like, you know how Lou, he conceals everything. He does it. Hey, if you've got time, use it. And just you see him like right at the start of camp. We don't really know, or at the draft, they come out there.
It's because he's asleep. He's like a school teacher. Once the bell rings, ding, ding, school's over. You don't see him for 3 months. That's the way his whole tenure with the Islanders has been. Never done anything.
What if at the draft you see them wheel Lou Lamoriello out, Grumpy, and he's still there?
I have come along to one thing. We had Phil on the show, and Phil's, he's stupid, but I like him. But he's really, he's an ignoramus. Just trying to make trouble. Believe me.
Provocateur, internet provocateur, Phil.
But one thing I did come around on the Hagen's kid. There's only one scenario.
Well, hold on.
One scenario.
Hold on. Hagen. Okay. You were being very negative towards that 17, 18-year-old kid last week.
He's 18. He's 23 years old. Okay. He's old already.
Sure. James Hagens. You said there's one thing that you would accept James Hagens for. Go ahead, Grump.
Yes. I would. If you're moving, like I said, I'm not moving next year's first-round draft pick. I don't even want to move Colorado's, but I'd be willing to move the Colorado pick and one of the pieces of trash that's pretending to be a defenseman on our team right now. Move them to move up to number 3 or number 4, wherever you want to go, to pick the Hagens kid. That I'd be willing to do. Because as long as you're not giving up your highest first-round pick, and you'll get more next year when you dump Anders Lee, when a new general manager comes in, move Anders Lee, move J.G. Pajot, some of the other garbage on our defensive line. Those guys I'm willing to move out and get higher draft capital. I'm willing to do that. If you're dead set on getting the Hagens kid, I'm not trading the Islanders' first-round draft pick. That's not happening because we're going to be bad next year. Just prepare yourself for it. Islanders going to be bad next year.
I want to ask Jack, if Lou were to be reinstated back in as general manager, what would your reaction be? You're kind of a little bit more neutral, I'd say, on Lou.
Yeah, no, I do not feel the way you guys do about him. If he was reinstated, I have to agree that it's too dysfunctional to take seriously, like no matter if you like him or not. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I'd be conflicted there. I just think it's time to pass the torch. I don't know. Look, I would obviously he'd be the GM of the team. I'm going to root for the team. I'm going to support him. But at the same time, it's just too dysfunctional. Like you said,
you think they bring him back as a GM?
No. I thought that was the hypothetical here.
Even if he's in an advisory role, do you think Lou Lamoriello could sit? The reason I pose it like that is I'm like, as an advisory role, do you think Lou's a true advisor, or do you think he's going to be meddling in and trying to do whatever the fuck he wants because he does whatever he wants all the time?
I do think if he's here in any capacity, he is the general manager, no matter what it looks like. I do agree with that. Think about it. If they bring that Darsh guy over,
fired from.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he's an advisor and Darsh is under him, like this is similar to how I think of him and Ledecky's relationship. Like, do you think that he's going to listen to a word Darsh says? Like, it's just he's going to be in control.
That's why they fired him. That's why he was fired. He was fired. They dumped him.
Let's say there's a hypothetical situation where ownership, because there's multiple members of ownership, don't necessarily see eye to eye. One owner is maybe a little bit larger of an owner than another. I don't know.
He lives in London. Okay. I'm sorry. He's not even involved. He pays the bills, but he's not doing the picking. Here's the thing. When he came on that West Coast trip in April, you knew Lamoriello was gone. You knew he was. Period. How long did they wait till the season ended before he was dumped?
A week.
There you go. They didn't let him talk at the end of the year. See you later. We had a conversation. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me.
I'd pay for that.
Yeah. Begging for please don't fire me. Get rid of Patrick Roy. I know I've only had 5 head coaching hires in the last 4 years, but please, it's him. It's not me. Dude, go out on your shield. Show a little bit of dignity, you freaking loser. You're done. He's never getting hired for another job. Never. Who would hire somebody who's 83 years old?
Nobody.
Unless somebody, maybe undertakers to model caskets. Let them lay in a casket. This is what it looks like when your beloved is in the casket. This is what it looks like. What other jobs does he get? I feel bad for Fredo because he's going to not have a job either.
Why do you feel bad for him? The incompetence that runs rife in the AHL. Think about it. He's been a GM of 2 different teams, the Islanders and whatever it was in Jersey, the Utica Comets, whatever the hell it was. And he's been the GM for like 15 or 20 years. In 5 of those years, he's ended up with a team with the worst AHL record.
Like father, like son. Think about
That's the biggest issue if Lou were to hang around in any way. Like Bridgeport needs to be absolutely cleaned up. Like his son cannot be there anymore.
We don't have to worry about that because he's been fired.
Grump, what do you think the likelihood is? You had to put odds.
0.0%.
0.0% that there's no shot that Lou comes back.
Again, I'm going to tell you again. It was all a lie that somebody in the Twitter sphere threw out there. And the lemmings in the press who were too lazy to do investigative work on their own and ask questions, they just ran with it. Let's put this out there. This will get clicks. That's what the whole thing's about, is clicks. Click, 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 click. That's what it's about. It's going nowhere.
I really hope you're not eating shit on this, Grumpy, because it would be the worst case scenario if you were. But this is, I think, Staple tweeting it is what made it legitimate. And that's
what does he say? Daily update will self-destruct in a few seconds. Even he knows it's bullshit.
This just looks like dart throwing.
Yeah.
Ken Holland out of the mix, possibly LA. Jeff Gordon still atop the wish list, but not available. Lou Lamoriello staying on, still a possibility. Bergevin and Kekalainen next up.
When you break this down, it really is just dart throwing.
It's just nothing. He just, like I said, he's heard a couple of things. Everyone knows Bergevin has interviewed already.
And Kekalainen as well.
Kekalainen, Gorton. Maybe they want him. But guess what? Montreal said no. So you could say he's still in the mix, but he's not, because Montreal's already denied an opportunity to interview him. So, I mean, hey, Arthur, you got to put something out today. Okay. Type this up, throw it out there. And guess what? That's got more clicks than anything else he's done in the last couple of years. It's not happening.
How soon do we need to name?
From a business standpoint, from a purely business standpoint, why would you? Here's the thing. I own a business. Would I do something like that? The answer is no. What would either one of you, even if you owned a lemonade stand? Hey, Mom, you over here, cook up the lemonade. You're my employee. Cook up the lemonade. You're fired.
Cook up the lemonade. What type of lemonade are you cooking up?
Whatever. Squeeze it. Throw the sugar in there. Go ahead, Mom. And then you say, "You're fired. You're fired, Mom." And then it's like, "Oh, hold on, Mom. Come back." You know what she's going to say? Go pound salt.
It sounds like a kid. It sounds like a child who made a bad mistake.
It just doesn't. And here's the thing. Let's be honest, right? Malkin is a good businessman. You don't get to become that rich. Okay. You don't get.
Daddy owned the Empire State Building at one point. He's a nepo, just like Lou and Chris. Okay. Just like Chris Lammer was a nepo baby. Same thing with Malkin. It's really tough to fuck up when you've been like, oh, hey, we've got the Empire State Building to our name. It's really hard to mess that up.
Okay. Again, you could say how he got his money, but he's parlayed it into more money by using good business sense. Look how he fleeced the state of New York and got them to build a shopping plaza. Now where the empty arena is sitting. He's able to do that. So he knows how to make money. I'm going to fire my CEO and then bring him back in advisory role. You just told him he was doing a shitty job, but we're going to bring you back in an advisory role. You did not trust his judgment 2 weeks ago, and now you want to bring him back in advisory. Just think about that. I just want people to use a little bit of logic. It's so dumb. It's so ridiculous that it's made up. You know who would make up something like this?
Who would make something up like this, Grumpy?
Somebody I know.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I do want to. I think we've had enough. It's going to be what it's going to be. I think we've all shared. If Lou's brought back, I don't think any of us are pleased. We shouldn't be pleased. I don't think it's a likely scenario. But I don't know. The longer we go without having a new general manager listed, the more I kind of worry that maybe that is in the cards, Grumpy. You could say there's a 0.0% chance.
Why would that be in the cards?
But seriously, from that standpoint, okay, if you're at a spot to where 4 or 5 weeks from after you fire Lou Lamoriello, you're sitting with the number 1 overall draft pick, you need guidance, and you still don't have a general manager selected, I tend to say what they're going to do is they're going to slowly and soft serve Lou back in, saying, we're still actively looking, but Lou's going to step in as interim senior advisor, interim GM, and that's how they're going to soft serve him back in. We love the draft that Lou had, and we're going to let him do the offseason now, too. Oh, Lou's back. I could see something like that, Grump.
You're just stupid. You're just stupid. You're a moron. That's all.
Okay,
That's what you're just stupid. Just use your stupid defense.
4 weeks. How about 5 weeks from now? Let me ask you this, Jack. If we go 5 weeks and we don't have a new GM listed, are you starting to seriously sweat it that Lou's coming back? I am.
Yeah. If we go another 2 weeks here, yes, I will start to think that.
How would you not be worried, Grump? How would you not be worried?
Because he was just fired by the team. He was fired. He was shit-canned. He lost their support. You don't bring up a guy. You don't bring back a guy you just lost support. What happened? Remember last week's tweet? Oh my gosh, this team is. Everyone wants to be GM of this team until since they got the number 1 draft pick. Everyone's calling now. Everyone wants an interview for this job. Well, that was last week. Now this week it's Lou Lamoriello. What's next week?
Jack's point, it allows me to schizo spiral and how that's possible. If Lou is still going to be here pulling the strings, what GM worth their weight in salt would say, yeah, let me be involved with that?
I don't get, everyone kept saying how attractive of a job opening this is.
Well, that was Staple last week.
It's not even just him. I mean, I remember Elliot Friedman said it. A few other guys did. I just don't understand, why it doesn't feel like there's a large list of candidates here.
There's a major rebuild needs to be done. Major rebuild needs to be done from top to bottom. Then Staple comes out earlier this week and says, wow, whoever comes in, this is going to be a massive undertaking because, the minor league system is bad. Talked about how Lamoriello wanted to change the name from the Sound Tigers to the Islanders. That was a Lamoriello thing, but Malkin did sign off on it. Okay, Malkin is in London. Malkin has no idea what's going on here. The only time he's actually seen the Islanders play was when we went on a trip to Anaheim to look at GM candidates as soon as he was going to fire the old man. These guys, all they know is, guess what? When we go to the arena and all we see is fans disguised as empty seats, that's when they get involved because it's about the money to them. The fans wanted Lamoriello gone. No one was going to games. He was fired. You think the fans are unhappy before?
The fans
fire him and bring him back.
The fans will forget because we just won the draft lottery.
No, they
you don't think so?
No,
you don't think so? Our fan base, the people listening to our show are going to be a little different, but I'm interested to see what a casual fan would think. I'm thinking a casual fan.
Are there any casual Islander fans?
Yes, a lot of
they exist.
There's 3 or 4.
Look at all the people
who be a fan of this team. You got to be a diehard glutton for punishment.
Look at all the people who oppose our views. All casual fans who don't stick up with what's going on.
They're losers.
Well, they're casual fans, Grumpy. It's what it is.
No, they're being they were part of the Lamanite group, and now they're part of the Philistines. That's what it is.
The Philistines.
He can come back. He can come back. I almost wish he does, just so I could see the reaction. And then I hate it. I hate it though.
He's gone. He's gone. Just think about it. I just explained that as a businessman, would any of you ever consider bringing up a guy you just fired? In any way, shape, or form?
If ownership doesn't agree, that's the problem. If one member of ownership likes Lou Lamoriello and another member who's a minority,
why did you fire him to begin with that?
Because the other one just like bam, 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 bam. He's snaggly toothed and complaining all the fucking time. And he says, "Get this motherfucker out of here, or I walk." And he says, well, "Things are okay now. We just won the draft lottery. We got to bring Lou in. We can't mess this up."
No.
Maybe Snaggletooth is on board now. I don't know.
No. I just like it when you're so wrong on things. It's just so easy for me when you're so wrong.
It goes another 2 weeks and we don't have a GM named. I'm firmly on board with Lou's going to be coming back.
He could be dead in 2 weeks. He could easily be dead in 2 weeks.
That's true.
I mean, if he was in the grave, you'd still think he's coming back. Half this Islander fan base would still want him dead to be general manager of the team.
I think the funeral would maybe be staged, Grumpy. I could skip some spiral that way. But no, I think 2 more weeks. If they wait 2 more weeks and they don't have another general manager announced, I will absolutely be worried. That's just my opinion. Okay.
Like I said, for me, it's always been the same. Bergevin with a Darsh or Kakalainen. That's it. Those are the 2 guys that I'm interested in. Nobody else. Ken Holland.
If you were to rank them, how would you rank them?
Bergevin number 1, Kakalainen number 2.
Darsh 3.
Darsh is going to be, like I said, you'll have one of them as hockey ops, and then they'll hire a GM. That's what I think. And that's what they should do. They need to have more people in the room, not less, or not the same amount. It's a bare bones operation there. It just is. You need to become part of the modern NHL. You got to have more than 5 people in your whole management group. You can't just, or you just need more. What was Darsh's strength in Tampa? It was salary cap. Okay. Well, you know what? He needs to learn some other things. He's been learning under Brisebois down in Tampa. I don't have a problem bringing him in as GM.
You know somebody you can learn under.
Joe Quenneville?
No. Maybe they'll maybe
that ship had sailed. They should have done that. How many years ago did they say they should have done that? How many years ago was I on this show saying that same thing?
We're saying it for like 3 or 4 years at least.
That's right. At least 3 years, I'm saying, bring in an assistant so you can have a steady transition when the old man ages out. They didn't want to do it. Too late to do it now. Way too late. Because the train has gone off the rails. The ship is sunk. You can't do that now. Too late. Just like everything the Islanders have done the last number of years is too late. Buck late and $1. What is it? A day late and $1 short. That's what it is. Sorry. No. Too late.
Well, let's kind of shift gears. We won the draft.
3 owners. So it was Collins, Ledecky, and Malkin, right?
2 minority owners and 1 majority owner. The majority owner who's not connected, who probably, I don't care, Lou. Well, let's keep Lou in charge, and 2 minority owners who maybe get a little bit more of the data.
Who hate him. And hate is not even too strong a word.
Here's the thing, though. If you're the majority owner, you have more of a say than the 2 minority owners. Maybe you're looking to play nice in the sandbox, but if it's simple as this, if the minority owners don't like him, but the majority says, let's bring him back, and he gets one of the other minorities to get on board, you just kind of trump then on that side.
And the head coach, who was handpicked by that owner,
do we really know that?
The general manager as well.
Do we really know that?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes. With a passion. Hates him. Hates him.
I want to talk about
old
Grumpy. I want to talk, and Jack, I want to talk about the draft lottery. We won the draft lottery. Grumpy and I shared our opinions as to who the Islanders should target, what we should be doing. Jack, I want to get your take. We're here. Draft lottery won. What's the best case scenario? Again, including possibilities of trades for the Islanders or just drafting a player outright. What do you think the Islanders' direction should be at this year's NHL draft?
I think they just have to keep it simple. You take the best player on the board, and I think it lines up. I think this couldn't line up any better for them. The thing is, like, they were supposed to pick, 11th or 10th, and the Islanders needed this so bad. Like, it's not even house money. It's just incredible luck. Like, I cannot believe they won that pick. It's unbelievable. They should draft Schaefer, the left-handed defenseman, and for so many reasons. I mean, I not that I don't think, I know for a fact our prospect pool when it comes to defensemen it's not much. We have George, and I don't see anything past that. And also we have this right-handed defenseman that I think has needed a partner of this caliber for a long time. I think it could work out extremely well for Dobson. Like, my first reaction to getting this, to winning the draft lottery, the first order of business this offseason, you extend Dobson and you draft Schaefer. And all of a sudden you have a young first pair that could be it for the next decade. No question. Now, Dobson had a bad year, in my opinion, but we've never really given him someone like this. Like, this could be life-changing for him. I don't know if he'll come into the league right away.
He won't. I'm fine
We'll
with that.
see. I think it's possible. I think it's possible he plays his rookie season.
He's not He's not even turning 18 until September.
I mean, this is the same franchise that threw Josh Bailey out there, age 18?
Okay,
also?
how'd that work out? Not
Pretty good.
You don't need a rider.
You want to know how well it worked out, Grumpy? You have people who still keep a Josh Bailey image as their Twitter, as their Twitter profile picture years after he retired. That's the sort of cult following that Josh Bailey has. Grumpy.
But honestly, when somebody would do that as some type of mental disorder, that I can't figure out why. Makes no sense, Jack.
But we should draft Schaefer. I know the Hagen story is great, but I just want to keep this simple. Like, the new GM, I don't need him coming in here and trying to be a hero. It's just not necessary. The lottery was our hero. Just take the best player and just run. Just run. We stole that. You just take it.
How about this? How would you think about a deal maybe with Utah, who needs a left shot defenseman? Give them Romanov, and whatever our lowest first round pick is next year, doesn't matter what it is, our lowest first round pick in exchange for that number 4 selection. Because Utah is loaded with young prospects, but they need some veterans on defense. Would you do something?
So at 4th, we would try to draft Hagens then, right?
Yes.
I think I would actually do that. I would rather trade. I would, like, next year's first is apparently like very valuable.
Yep.
So Colorado's first, not ours.
And even if we pick up other firsts this year, like
I think I would do that, only because Romanov's due for an extension. Yep. Instead of extending Romanov, you could draft this star defenseman. So
see you later, Romanov.
There you go. Bye-bye.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I like Romanov, but
I
do think I have a little bit of a theory on him. I think that whoever this new GM is going to start negotiating with Romanov, and Romanov's going to have a number, and this new GM is going to be like, what the hell? Like, no. And I think he's going to get traded. This is the exact reason why we need to have our GM listed and named before the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, it's going to be Lou Lamoriello.
Okay, but the big trades for the draft maybe like a couple of weeks before the draft is when all that starts going. I also have a theory on Romanov. He sucks something awful. That's my theory.
Do you want to expand upon that, Grumpy, at all?
He's the worst defenseman I've seen in forever. Him and Owen Power. I'd love to see that pairing out there.
Why?
One guy who won't even stay in the defensive zone, and then you got another guy who's too busy trying to hammer guys along the boards, so it just walks right down the center of the ice and scores. Jesus. Poor Dobson, saddled with that loser for how many years?
Dobson was not great this year either, though.
He wasn't, but look who his partner was.
No, I can't get there on that. It was. I will say with Dobson, it was a little bit of an unlucky season at times. I mean, every mistake the guy made ended up in the back of our net. I really wonder what the save percentages were with him on the ice. It was ridiculous.
I just think that Patrick Waugh wants to run a different system than the players that he has. He wants to be more open offensively. Whenever you try to open up offensively, because our defensemen were absolutely joining the rush, and they're getting exposed on the back end because they're not capable of doing certain things.
Are you a big analytics guy, Jack?
I'm not, but I have warmed up to them a little bit just because, like, the analytics on Dobson are extremely high. And
That's right. The highest there are. He's like top 5 defenseman in his spot.
and the results
I love
this
analytics.
season didn't quite reflect that. And so I really started to pay attention. Like when we were out of it at the end of the season, I'm not even going to lie. Like I would just, when I was at a game, I would just watch him the entire shift. And like, you notice a lot more, like he's doing good things out there, but just this season in particular, I can't stress enough. Every mistake the guy made ended up in the back of our net and it just snowballed. It was really something. He's not perfect. Like I don't know. I'm nervous about extending him, but I think it's the right decision. You have to do it.
No one is perfect. Every player makes mistakes every game. But here's the thing. That's what you're supposed to have a good partner for. So when you do make a mistake, your partner's supposed to help you out.
Yeah,
How many times, if you would watch Romanoff every night, he made zillions of mistakes every single game. And he had Dobson to bail him out a lot of times. People don't look, and I'm glad you say that you kind of watch him like that, because he does little things that are just, they're subtle. He's not a guy who's going to, oh man, look at the way he's stapling that guy to board. Look at the way that he's doing it. He just makes the safe play all the time. Now, every player makes mistakes, okay? But positionally, he's always pretty sound, unless he's trying to cover up for whoever his useless partner is. Chara, Boychuk, Green.
Think about how many years he was saddled with shitty aged vets who were just complete glaciers.
Couldn't skate anymore.
The first one was Boychuk. He was forced to play his offside. Then it was Chara for a year. And then it was 2 years of fucking Green. His first 4 years in the league were saddled with Andy Green, Boychuk, and Zdeno Chara. Not like prime guys. These are all 35 plus.
40s. Guys in their 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also something that I had an issue with Dobson earlier in the season when we had like the worst power play in the league, like I just kind of blamed it on him. And Tony DeAngelo came in and the power play looked a little bit better at times, but it was the same exact thing.
The results were worse.
He's not the problem. He is not the problem on that unit. I've come to realize it's the fact that we don't have the finishing ability up front. And there's times where he's not great at holding the zone, but it's just not, like, I kind of thought that was on him. It's just not on him at all.
It's the power play is just too slow. It's just too slow. The passing is slow, laborious. It's just easy to defend.
It's terrible.
Do you think we can expect more production out of Anthony Duclair next season?
I hope he's gone. I don't want to see him play on our team ever again.
Buy him out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Usually terminate the contract. That's what they really need.
Make it 10 and 12. That's what I'm going to say, 10 and 12.
It's been absolute silence on him since all that went down. I'm curious to see what happens there.
After he quit on the team, maybe they're going to wait. I don't know. There's obviously the issue with him and Waugh, but I'm like, Waugh's still going to be the head coach next year, right? I don't see how that corrects itself.
Yeah, I also don't know how he walks back into, like, I don't know how his teammates felt about that. It's just a weird situation.
He quit on the team. He quit.
I agree.
He quit. He's a quitter. He's a Lou Lamoriello of players. Quitter. Well, no, Lou's a beggar. So
Lou's going nowhere, Grumpy. He would be like, I'm going to stick with my contract, but I'm going to half-ass it because I want to make sure I get paid. That would be a Lou move.
I think the only reason he wants his job is to make sure Fredo stays employed. That's it. He has never gotten a job on his own his entire life, that guy.
I got to say, when you guys were annoyed at the 7-game winning streak, the one time I was annoyed at success this season. So Duclair was on the power play for a while, and he was in the top 6 after we traded Nelson. And we had the Islanders scored a power play goal like late in the season against Montreal. It was Duclair. He took a shot that somebody else completely set up, and the goalie just let in a terrible goal. And it was a Duclair power play goal. And I was like, no, gonna have to watch this guy on the power play now for the next 2 weeks. No minutes getting cut. I was just like, come on, man.
Well, I love when I brought it up after he came back from his injury, and they're like, oh, man, he's still playing injured. He's been injured. That was the whole thing. Like, oh, he's still injured. Oh, man, he's not fully recovered. I'm like, bullshit. I'd be like, guys bounce back from torn groins. And again, if it was they're not letting him go out there with a torn groin to continue to play and to have a chance to re-tear the groin. That's not like it's like for muscles and you're talking about things like that. They're not going to be like, you got a partially torn. Keep going out there so you could tear the groin all the way through. That's not how that works. He's fully recovered. He just half-assed. It was the laziest performance I'd seen from a gentleman out there on the ice.
I agree with you.
Particularly when the team was so far out of a playoff spot. You just don't do that.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what? Fans just want to believe. They don't want to look at they don't want to actually look at what's happening in front of them. They want to make excuses for why guys failed. Anthony Duclair, 9 teams in 11 years, hopefully 10 and 12. There's a reason. He's a dog.
Yeah.
That's the reason. He's a dog. No one wants him on their team. That's why he's always a one and done guy. Because I'm not saying he doesn't have ability, but you know what? He's not a good teammate. He's just not. I'm just glad hopefully he's be gone. I want Schaefer coming in. I'm good for, you know what, moving off Romanoff and bringing in Hagens. I'm all for that. But I'm not giving up next year's Islanders first round pick.
I absolutely would say give up Colorado's first round pick and Romanoff to get number 4. I'd be fine with that if they'd be interested in it. I think, again, like as we mentioned last show, it makes sense for Utah. They're trying to win now. It's like when they added guys like Sergachev into the picture, into the mix, they're also still getting a first rounder. You know, Romanoff plays for him now. He's got NHL experience, playoff experience. They're looking to make the playoffs. When's the last time the Utah/Arizona Coyotes made the playoffs? It's been, how many years has it been?
A lot.
I think it's been 13 years. I could be. Oh no, the bubble they did.
The Sabres are 13 or 14 now.
The bubble, I think they won like a qualifying round.
There you go.
Yeah. So again, it's been like they made the playoffs once in the last 13 years. That's just not good enough for a team that's been having a lot of high draft selection year after year after year. Now they're like, great, we've got a lot of those young picks. We got a lot of those young players. We need to start actually seeing those guys perform where you can see that in tangible results. I mean, you're not like playing in the Mullet Stadium of Arizona State where you only have to pack like 4,000 people in order to have a sellout crowd anymore. You got a stadium to fill there and a new team and a new state. You know, it's about time they start, putting up or shutting up.
Let me ask you guys this for the defense. So you trade. I think we're all on board that we think Romanov or think he should be traded. What about the rest of them? Who are you keeping? Like, who are you trading? If it's up to you.
The only guys that you look, and again, it's like a transition time period. I think the pairings are this. I don't care if Schaefer's up. I think he probably needs another year down there, to be honest with you, in juniors. If they were to call him up, it would be like, all right, you still got Dobson, you still got Pellick and Pulak. I don't think they're moving either of those guys yet. You still have Mayfield. You've got a guy like I signed back Tony DeAngelo on the cheap. And then why not? If he's doing like 1 year, $2 million, you think he's not going to accept something like that?
You're going to have 9 NHL level defensemen. You don't need that many.
Well, no, you're going to get rid of some. You're going to get a lot of guys.
You're going to get rid of.
Is Riley? We're going to sign back Mike Riley.
No,
I'd sign Riley back.
He's got a soft candy.
You wouldn't though, because you would rather sign the young player at Perunovic.
No,
I would rather sign Perunovic than Riley because we're young. We're in a retool.
Perunovic would help us tank grumpy old man.
Well, okay, I agree. He's horrible. He looks like a 14-year-old boy out there against men.
He barely played.
It's because he sucks.
He literally had one bad game, and they just didn't.
Every game he plays is bad. He's terrible. He doesn't play any defense. Adam Boqvist, he can be a forward for you because he's not a defenseman. Perunovic, he's the same guy. They don't play any defense.
Perunovic and Boqvist, fourth line wingers next season.
Well, I don't want Perunovic back.
No, not even as a forward.
Nope.
They have him as a restricted free agent where they give up a 5th round pick for him.
No, they didn't because he didn't play enough games. They got him for free.
They got him for free, Grump.
That's fine. Free's great. Now you can go somewhere else. He showed me that he's not NH. He was a healthy scratch in St. Louis. He was a healthy scratch here for a while.
You're probably right.
Not good enough. He's just not good enough. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you said you love the analytics. The analytics love Scott Perunovic.
What did he play? 15 minutes for the whole season with the? I mean, how many minutes a game did he play? He don't play a whole lot.
He didn't. He was playing a lot in February, and then it just ended very abruptly.
You want to know what was the worst defensive pairing at the end of the year? D'Angelo and Romanoff.
Oh my
Awful.
God.
It got awful.
Because D'Angelo doesn't play any defense, which really exposed how bad Romanoff is.
It was ugly.
That's what people don't realize about Dobson. He covers up for the failures of Romanoff. Tony D'Angelo doesn't play any defense, and Romanoff, supposedly the defensive stalwart in that pairing, he sucks.
Well, if Romanoff, here's the thing. Romanoff could be a better defender if he used his brain, even like half the time he's out there on the ice. The things that frustrate me to no end, it's like some people easily get frustrated. It's like, oh, Dobson this, Dobson that. The thing that frustrates me is when Romanoff will purposefully take himself out of position to try to staple somebody along the boards. He'll miss them, and it leads to a 2-on-0 or a 2-on-1. I'm like, wow, that was completely self-inflicted because you wanted to hammer somebody. We were in a good spot, and you just fucked us. Like,
So
those are the thing that pissed me off about Romanoff.
So you think Romanoff is going to get smarter when he showed no inclination of doing that?
He's 20. What is he? 25, 26 years old. He's had a lot of coaching. He'll never learn how to play the game. He'll never become smarter. He is what he is.
That's right. He is what he is.
You know what would make him smarter? When he starts doing shit like that? To the bench. All right, you're on the bench the next period. All right, you're benched next game. I can't see this shit anymore. Bench.
He did get benched one time, I think.
Yeah.
So who would I keep? I think everyone's on the block, honestly, with the exception of Dobson. Everybody else is replaceable. You're not getting rid of Pulak and Pelech yet. I don't think anyone wants them at their age.
Pelech's, I think Pelech's no trade clause is only half. I think it's 16. He's still got it a little bit to the point where he could be traded. Polak, though, has a full no trade clause and is not playing well. He's a disaster. Like, all your Romanov energy should be on Polak. Like, it was bad this year.
Pelech and Polak are both. I mean, they're
cooked.
They're
both
not
cooked.
the same guys they were.
They're not, but Polak's still functional. I mean, Pelech is still functional. Polak, though, it's just ugly.
I'd bring Riley back before I bring Perunovic back. And I'm not a Riley guy, but I'd bring Riley back because he plays better. He doesn't play much defense either, but he's better than Perunovic. Mayfield's going to be back. I don't think Mayfield's movable.
One of those three is going.
They have to. That's why it's like, okay, you don't need to replace anyone. You need to move some guys out.
I'm thinking about our defense. When I'm really starting to think about it, my God, we're awful. Defensively, we're awful. I'm like, oh fuck. This is why, like, if you bring Lou back in any capacity, it's affirming just failure is what.
And also,
is.
This is why we need to take Schaefer first overall. It's not even a question. Like,
I agree.
It's just
I'm on Schaefer.
There's not enough prospects in here, and you have George, who I thought played well. I'm curious, what do you guys think of George?
I think he's too small. He's not big enough. He needs to put on 10, 15 pounds. I like what he was initially, but he played himself out of the spot. And I just think he what they should have done, and I've talked about it on the show many times, he should play in every single situation down in Bridgeport. Power play, penalty kill, give him as much ice time as he can handle, 22, 23, 24 minutes a game. And he's got to get bigger. He's too small. He doesn't play a whole lot of defense either, right? You need some guys who actually can play the position of defense. It's in the title. Maybe they should look at guys like that. I don't think he's ready yet. But I'm not giving up. No, he's 20 years old. I'm not giving up on him. Boquist, I don't hate Boquist as a forward. I think I thought he looked pretty good as a center, to be honest with you. He doesn't play defense either.
The way
I keep Boquist, though. I would keep Boquist.
The way I think about this, defensively, though, we absolutely need to improve. And it's just like we're tied. So many guys started to fall off. Like Pelech and Pulak, I think, are more system defenders, is really what they are. They look best under Barry Trotz. They've never looked the same. It didn't matter under Lane Lambert. Didn't matter under Patrick Waugh. I think Trotz's system definitely helped conceal some of the inadequacies in their game. Just that simple. But it's also the reason why we didn't score any points and any goals is because, Trotz was a very defensive heavy, lay back. We're going to be 200-foot game every single night out there on the ice. And it helped the defensemen, helped all the defense, I think, perform better on the ice. And we don't do that. We're back to like, oh, wow, our defense was hideously bad, just like it was under Doug Waite.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't disagree. It's just been ugly. Sorokin, able to cover for it at times, but we also need to make life easier in front of him. And we need to have a stable backup, by the way, next season. I don't care if you guys think that like we're going to be terrible. We need to have 2 functioning goaltenders. It's just what we went through at the end of the season last year. Grateful for it now that we're picking number 1, but in the time it was ugly, man. Hogberg is not an NHL goalie.
No, but you know what? There's a backup out there every single year that you'd come in and play 30 games.
Yeah, but not him.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. Team's bad. We're in for some rough times. Get ready for it. And I don't
think the team is as bad as you think at all.
Non-playoff team. That's why I think we're a non-playoff team.
I agree with that. And
we'll see.
Now, are you a Sorokin guy or not a Sorokin guy? I don't remember, Jack.
So definitely wasn't until he played 60. How many games did he play this season? Like 50 something off back surgery. He's really frustrated me in some of our bigger games over the last few years, but the guy came in this season off back surgery and just played every game and never the body language. Like, you see some goalies after they give up one and they're taking their stick and smashing it against the goalpost. Like, I like the way he carries himself, and it made me gain like just a lot of respect for him this year, even though we stunk.
I still think he's a top 5 goalie in the league.
I do too.
So my thing is he might be talent wise, but for whatever reason in those big games and those big spots, I just don't trust him. I just don't.
Well, we don't have to worry about being in any of those big spots anytime soon.
That's true. But he just hasn't been great in some of the last few playoffs we've had, even down the stretch last year. But it's more frustrating because he has it in him. I don't know where it goes.
The team is just so bad in front of him.
What do you expect from Sorokin?
Not to give up goals from behind the goal line late in playoff games. Got to make that save.
So like when you watch guys like Picard and you watch guys like Freddie Anderson and you watch guys out there like who is
Joseph Wall.
When you watch guys like that,
Bobrovsky.
He's
been giving up how many weak goals? He just won a Stanley Cup, won 2 Vezina trophies, but how many weak goals does he give up?
Yeah. He's looked really bad in this series. He's looked terrible.
How is Vasilevsky?
Like
terrible.
He's been bad too. Like, but that's my thing. When you watch and look at that, Hellebuck's been awful too. This is what I mean. Like, I think when Islander fans get so upset, and I'm not saying you are, but like when fans get upset or like they're not clutch or they're not this, how many shitty like Jake Ottinger? Did you mention Jake Ottinger too?
Yep.
Like, the list goes on and on of all these guys that have this huge pedigree that you expect great performances from. Like, oh, their save percentage in the playoffs is a 901 or an 898. It's just like it happens.
Not everybody's Dominic Hasek or Marty Brodeur or
Curtis Joseph. It's just not the case.
Yeah, people. I think people are spoiled. If you look at other teams, and I'm not saying you, I'm just talking to the mass.
Yeah.
When you look at some of the performances by goalies on other teams, it's like, wow, Sorokin looks really, really good. How could this guy Sorokin would have stopped that? I just don't think people realize how good he is because we watch the Islanders every night. And he might give up a softie here and now, but everybody gives up soft goals. Everybody.
Yep. I will say I kind of agree. I want to watch him in front of a better team. Like, it's just I want to see what that looks like because I can see like there is a chance you put a really good team in front of him. Like, I could see it.
So you're advocating for him to get traded then?
No, I'm not.
You said you wanted to play in front of a good team. So I thought maybe you will.
Oh, no. Just got to build this thing up the right way.
It's gonna take some time. I think the unfortunate thing is for Sorokin's sake, like a guy like Schaefer, he's not going to be at probably a competent level or a good defensive level probably for another 2 or 3 years. Even if they have him next year down there in juniors, his first year up in the NHL, he's going to make rookie mistakes. He's going to look like a rookie. They all do. And like he may have a lot of offensive upside. He may show a lot of flashes, but he'll look like he's supposed to at that time period. And it may be the same even his second year in the league. And that's where I'm like, okay, Sorokin, it's the unfortunate thing about how long-term of a contract we signed him to. And I just think our team naturally should be in a time period of transition. But it's funny. You're still seeing a lot of people out there. I don't think there's as many towards the Hagens, but I do want to ask your opinion on that, Jack. You said Schaefer. Now, does it make you feel any bit, do you have any reservations because, of how, Hagens he's an Islander fan. He's a New York guy. Do you have any does that play into your thought process at all? Does that make you want to select Hagens or maybe trade back and pick Hagens at all?
I just want to say I get it to the fans that want him. It's just like a perfect story, but I just can't get there. I just can't get there. It's too important of a pick for the team. You just got like the luckiest break of all time. Like, it's just not a time for risk taking. And I see it. People are writing, he was first on the draft board 4 or 5 months ago. Like, what possibly changed? Well, what changed was he didn't have the greatest season. And he's undersized, I believe. And this team needs defensive prospects more than anything. Anything. And if you look at their centers, they just got Cal Ritchie, who's 20 years old. They still have Barzal and Horvat locked up for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
They need defensemen. And I'm not like, if they traded up in your scenario with Utah and they drafted James Hagens, like, okay, I'm not going to be mad. We're getting a young forward. I'm all for that, but I'm also okay with not doing that and just taking this, just doing everything the way they've done it so far. I don't need to be trading anything. It just is all so risky. If Hagens wants to come here so badly, then pull what Adam Fox did. Nobody's stopping you.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I guess that's not a bad move or an idea there on that side. I mean, maybe
not a bad. I kind of like that idea even better. I'm
only going to play for the Islanders. If you draft me, man, would it be nice for the Islanders to benefit from
something first time ever? Because let's say James Hagens isn't ready to play in the NHL either. He got the physicality was a little much for him at BC this year.
He was the youngest kid in college. It is worth mentioning that.
The second half of the year, though, he wasn't very good.
I agree.
And what changed in 5 months? Well, you know what? Guys get better. That's what happens. How do they play in tournaments? How do they look in the big moment?
Hagens did look very good in the tournament, the World Juniors. He did. Just like Schaefer looked very good in the World Juniors. That's where I'm like, I'm okay. If he slides far enough, I'm all for the Islanders trading back in and making that happen. As long as we don't give up too much. That's the big thing. If he starts sliding, that's a guy where you say, he's an Islander fan. He probably wants to be here. We know the talent's there. He was the consensus #1 overall pick for like the 2 years prior to his draft class year. He slipped off because he fell off a little bit. You know what? It's worth rolling the dice at a guy like that. And you're going to have to move a left-handed defenseman. And like we talked about this last time, a Schaefer is you draft a guy, a defenseman, #1 overall, of a guy of Schaefer's ilk. You're expecting Schaefer when he's all up and running to be playing what? 26, 27 minutes a night, probably. You're not going to then say, let me sign a guy like Romanov to a long-term extension when realistically he's maybe going to be a second pairing guy playing 18, 19 minutes a night. Just doesn't make sense.
A third pairing guy. Maybe.
Yeah. You don't know. You don't know where it'll end up.
If Pulock and Pelech are still there, they're the second pair.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have Scott Mayfield making a ridiculous amount. He's not making a ridiculous amount of money, but the term is ridiculous.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You don't do that for bottom pairing defensemen.
If you had a choice to keep one of the three out of Mayfield, Pelech, and Pulock, who would you keep?
Pulock.
That's crazy. That's the last one I would keep.
I think Pelech is done.
Pelech is done.
Here's the reason why. They're always hurt.
Injury.
Mayfield and Pelech are always hurt. Best ability is availability. And I think that you'd be able to move Pulock's contract a little bit easier down the line. I just think, maybe the league thinks Pelech still has it. He's lost at least a step and a half over the last couple of years. And he's always hurt. Those are the type of guys I don't want on my team. Oh, here we go. Swamp Box 29 says, I'm back. Did you really think the Islanders were hiring a new GM? Oh, nope.
Mickey the Buzzard back again.
Did you want to read the ad first?
Yes, we are. I just want to put that up because I thought it was funny. I thought it was a nice time.
But I'm in, I was pretty adamant on Wednesday. I didn't want Hagens at all, but that was really after listening to the idiotic fans thinking that he should be the pick because, well, he likes the Islanders. And, maybe he'll give team-friendly deals and contract negotiation. No, he's not. Matter of fact, he might think he's the most valuable guy on the team because of he is from Long Island. He should get paid more because he's a face of the organization.
Makes me a little nervous, the fact that, attendance is down and the team isn't doing great. It makes me a little nervous that ownership's going to step in here and try to draft him first overall.
I want the best guy, and Schaefer is, and I was not looking at defense at all till I saw this kid play.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
It's eye-opening. It is. And
he reminds me of Cale McCarr.
Yeah.
But bigger and better defensively. That's what it reminds me of.
Honestly, if the roles were reversed, or let's say the roles are reversed, the number one on the consensus draft board is Misa, and then Schaefer's 2. Would you want to draft Misa first?
No.
I agree. Yeah, we need the defenseman.
Misa's 6-7 months older.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Misa wouldn't help this team. I just think a difference maker look at the teams that are in the playoffs. They all have difference makers on the back end.
Yeah.
I mean, you can generate offense out of nothing. The Islanders really struggled transitioning the puck out of their own zone. They really do. The only guys who could do it, and Perunovich was able to do it to some extent, but he just didn't play any defense, is Dobson. None of the other ones.
That's what so Darsh is a popular candidate. And when I was watching the Lightning Panthers series in the first round, if you take Hedman off the ice, they were having that trouble also because they traded Sergachev. Yep. And it made me a little bit nervous thinking about Darsh getting hired. I don't want to watch that brand of defense anymore where they cannot move the puck out of their zone. They can't make clean breakout passes. Tampa was getting hemmed every shift against Florida. And to be fair, they are playing Florida. So Florida's definitely going to be a headache for anyone. But yeah, that definitely was a little bit of a pause.
Yep. Now, the baby woke up, so TJ's having to deal with her. So I'm going to hit some comments because I do not have the ad read, but we'll do that as soon as he gets back.
All right, nice.
I also can't put the comments up because, well, TJ's in charge of everything. Goon says, maybe the Islanders have it right if they keep lounge chair Lou on as an advisor. Just do exactly the opposite of whatever he says. Kind of like George Costanza when he just said, whatever my natural desire is, I'm just going to do the opposite. And they got him that assistant GM job for the Yankees. Maybe that's all it takes. I don't know. Andre M says, this Lou staying on is absurd. It's not true. It's not true. I am the curve. He stole that name from me, Jack, by the way. Everyone knows I am the curve. Seems like I want to do a shirt like that, just have a curve and just say grumpy old man in there. Seems like nobody knows what's going on with the GM search as we keep getting different stories from everyone. Exactly. No one knows anything because no one said anything. They're all just kind of grasping at straws. I mean, that's just the way it is. Ownership hasn't said anything. The only thing they've done is fired the old man and interview some guys. That's all. That's all we know what's actually happened. But don't let the facts get in the way of a good argument. I kind of enjoy it too. Nick D says, Lou staying is like being friends with your ex. It never works. That's true. That's true. That's not true. Well, I guess it is true. Drew says, by the way, what's up with all these reports that I'm hearing about Lou staying in an advisory role? Are owners really this cucked? Yes, it's an ultimate cuck move. I 100% agree. But Drew, don't worry. It's not true. It is not true. Not true. It's good to talk about it, but it's not true. Thomas Antonetti says, gents, please tell me that it's just hearsay and nothing more that Lou is still affiliated with the team. I don't want him anywhere near us and certainly not as an advisor. New GM needs total autonomy. Exactly. You don't fire a guy to keep him. You don't fire him. Not where it's like, oh, he's stepping back in an advisory role. He's fired. Shit can. You do not do that and then have him as an advisor. You didn't trust his advice 3 weeks ago. All of a sudden you do. It's not true. So everyone, just take a deep breath. It's not true. Drew says once again, the only bright side is we did interview Matthew Darsh. And we touched on that, did we not?
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, great. I mean, Matthew Darch, as a new first-time GM, you'd want to have somebody strong on top, but not Lou Lamoriello. I'm all for Mark Bergevin or Kakalainen. Kakalainen did a nice job loading up Columbus with good young talent after they took that that 1 year they were all in with Bobrovsky and Shane and who was the other guy who walked?
Panarin.
And Panarin, right. They all walked.
The thing I like about Yarmo is with his experience, it's a little bit different. So Bergevin comes from Montreal, Darsh is in Tampa, Columbus. That's a tough place to attract free agents and talent. Yep. And he was able to do that. So, the Islanders being like a little bit on the smaller market side, I find that to be encouraging. I wouldn't hate that hire.
Jack, how is New York a small market?
The Islanders, I don't know. We're always smaller than the Rangers. We have a less chance of attracting a free agent. If someone's going to come to New York, they first think the Rangers.
Okay, compared to the Rangers. But New York is not a small market.
I know, not actually a small market.
The Mets fans think, we're a small market team. No, you're not. You're 7 train stops from Yankee Stadium. You're not a small market team. Kansas City is a small market team. Just no. Jason Cameron says, grumpy for GM. I think that's the best comment of the night right there as far as I'm concerned. Nick D commented, Randy Orton just gave everyone an RKO. I think WWE Backlash is on tonight. Nice to know. Prime Timer, where the E's are 3s, says, that's cute. Jack's the man. Thanks for joining Isles Den.
Thank you.
I don't care. I did see some of your. I'm like, who's this Isles Den character? Then I'm like, oh, it's Jack. Gungu says, Jack, is there an Isles? If there is an Isles Den, is there also an Islanders bathroom, an Isles pantry, etc.? No, Gungu, there is not. John McDonough says, if we don't trust Lou, why would we want his input on the future? Lou is like herpes. It disappears, then it flares up again. That's fair. I don't think now so far I haven't seen one positive. Yes, we need to bring Lou back. Not a one. Thomas Antonetti also goes, since the last podcast, any better feel for GM or president of hockey ops? Is Holland definitely out of contention? I heard that he is out of contention.
Thank God, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't want a guy who's 70 years old coming in as director of hockey ops, and that he has a son who's an assistant GM for Edmonton. Did we just live through that? Did we not?
Yeah,
Absolutely
pass.
Bergevin or Kakalainen, those are the two guys that I'm into, without a doubt. Bruce Harper says, do you feel we can get Barry Trotz away from Smashville? Well, I don't want Barry Trotz as GM.
No.
Look what he's done to Nashville in a year or two. No. TJ, you're on the right comment. I don't know if you want to do the ad read now. So
yes, well, I'll go ahead and jump here into the ad read. Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings, grumpy old man. Let me pull that up here for us. All righty. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30, 40, or even more? It's your call. Here's something here's something for first timers. The new DraftKings customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code THPN. Again, that's THPN for new customers. Get $200 in bonus bets when they bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available. If you have a gambling problem, call 888-79-77-77 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort. You must be 21 years or older, but age varies by jurisdiction. It's void in Ontario. New customers only, and the bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio.
Nice. I like it.
There it is. Pick up here, though. Dale S. Grumpy Old Man.
This ownership could mess up a one-car funeral.
Hard to do. Freedom Fund and Adventure.
Darsh doesn't need supervision. Only Grumpy, TJ, and Son X requires supervision. I am certain the Warden and Doc Page are within earshot. They are not. Doc Page is working, and the Warden is Betty by time.
There it is. I got here. Prime Timer. Oh,
Jack's hair is increasingly starting to look more and more like TJ's. I didn't want to mention it, but it is. I'm concerned for him.
Yeah, well, you should be.
You're in good company.
Christopher Smith says, Grumpy going with the defenseman with the first pick. He's a lefty. Yeah, we need lefties.
Yeah, I think it's the no-brainer at this point, and again, as we mentioned, if Higgins slips, I'm all for it. Alan Avital.
Why is Lou and his son Fredo still in the freaking building? I don't know. Fredo has not been fired yet. He's gone now. They have to revamp the whole operation. Is Lou in the building? Who even knows?
I think he is.
I've never, Grumpy. You were in such a stage of denial. I can't hold it. He's in the building till whenever.
Why do I know that? Have you seen him in the building?
We know he's there. We know he's there.
How do we know?
He's there
because he's on the website. His thing.
Okay, that doesn't mean you're in the building.
But his contract ends, I think, in May or May 30th or June. Is it May 20? Is that the day?
18 days. Yep.
Okay.
So?
Oh boy. Day 19 days from now, you're going to wake up at like 6 a.m.
I'm not even good. I'm not even remotely concerned. I'm not. He's out. He's out. They fired him. He's already been fired. Everyone's so scared. The aura of Lou Lamoriello. No, he's gone. Gone.
As I mentioned earlier, the longer we wait until we have a new GM, the more I worry. Okay. That's just me, though. Prime Timer.
IslesHouse podcast is legit. Check it out, guys.
It's legit.
Thank you.
Link in the description below here. So that's where you can find it there if you're a new or first-time listener to IslesHouse podcast.
Now with the Canadians went bye-bye, will the Islanders now get that chap? Was John Spano merely full of crap? The Canadians have not granted Gorton a chance to interview anywhere, so he is not an option.
Yep.
Dale S. says, how much longer can you go without a GM? I mean, honestly, you go another 3 or 4 weeks. Certainly you can. You want to just make sure you don't want to rush into, you want to get the right guy.
3 to 4 more weeks. God almighty, Grump.
He said, how much longer can you go without a GM?
Do you guys think that the Palmieri and Boquist contracts that were out there, do you think those are do those still exist?
I heard
it
was already done. That was already a done deal. That was a Lou's parting gift.
Unless it's been pen to paper. Nope. I mean, he's not a UFA until what? Week after the end of the playoffs?
July 1st, right?
It's not like you're going to, it's not like you could sign anywhere else anyway. Why again? He's 34 years old. Why you re-sign a 34-year-old to a team that's in a full-on rebuild? Just don't do it. Dumb.
You need wingers though. This team is going to have they need some wingers. Like if you want to trade Pajot, you need to keep a few wingers. I actually like the move of keeping him.
Not me. He was invisible without Nelson. Invisible.
He wasn't great, but they also played him. They need to play him with somebody who has more of a pass first mentality.
Hold on. He's supposedly standing right in front of me. I don't see him. He's invisible. Invisible.
He struggled. He wasn't great.
Because he's finished. He's 34 years old.
I'll say this. They should have traded him at the deadline. I think we all agree on that one. At this point, I'd almost rather them sign him back to a 1-year extension and flip him at the deadline.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. I think it doesn't make sense to let him walk at this point. You already kept him. They're going to need wingers next season. Just sign him back and embrace it.
No.
Okay. Who else do you think is stepping up, Grumpy, that could step up into that role?
Adam Boqvist.
Fuck.
Come on.
Give him a shot. Give him a shot. You're going to have Cal
You
Ritchie's
want to
going
be
to come
terrible
up, right?
next season.
Cal Ritchie's going to come up next year. You know he's going to be playing on your third line.
Center, though, not wing.
Yeah. So you slide up. Who's playing third? Who's playing that third line center now?
Do you think Ritchie's good on the stick the entire year? That's the real question.
I think you just
Cal
leave
Ritchie?
him there. Yeah, just leave him there. Yeah,
He's gonna,
third line
he's gonna
center.
play all year. Absolutely. On a really bad team, sure he will. He'll play.
I think that Pajot really should be like I said. First order of business is extend Dobson. Second is trading Pajot immediately.
I think you hold Pajot's going to be your second line center next year. So I think he's going to put up better numbers than he did this year. You move him at the deadline. That's what
I think Bo Horvat's going to be your second line center next year.
So you're going to take Barzell off that line. Okay.
Barzell first, Horvat second, Ritchie third, and McLean fourth.
So where's Pajot? He's just gone already?
He's traded.
I think a new GM is going to come in and actually see what the team does before he makes any moves. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. I mean, if you're a guy hey, let's see. What's the first thing you want to do? You want to solve a problem. Let's see what the problem is. Let's see how we can maximize assets. Hey, Pajot, he's still playing well. We'll put him in a marquee position to start the year, move him at the deadline. It's all about the future. It's not about the present for this team.
Well, I was saying that he should go. I was saying before Lou was announced to be gone, like at the trade deadline, he kept Palmieri and he kept Pajot. I was saying that if Pajot is still on this team come October, then he needs to be fired. This next GM, their first big test for me is he needs to at least be traded by the deadline. There's no reason to have him on this team anymore. You have a third line center replacement that's 20 years old. The thing is with Pajot too, is I actually like him as a player, but those that want to keep him, they literally act like he's the next coming of Patrice Bergeron offensively and defensively. And I just can't. It's time to move on.
Yeah. There's no one on this team that I wouldn't take an offer on. No one.
Barzell?
If somebody offered me he's been hurt. 2 of the last 3 years been hurt?
I don't think he's injury prone or all different types of injuries, but if the offer was right, I'd move a guy like that. Same thing with Dobson. If Dobson's not willing to sign long term, see you later, Noah. I mean, because I think this brings up an interesting question because we're going to start jumping into comments, but I wanted to ask Jack this first. Winning the draft lottery, does that change your opinion on the route the Islanders should have going forward?
A little bit. Yeah, for sure. Like when I was thinking of this next GM hire, a guy like Bergevin at first I thought would be good because he's not afraid to pull the trigger. And where the team was going to be picking at 11 off the season that they just had, I thought there would have to be some transactions that would involve a little bit of risk taking. But given the fact that you moved from 10 to 1 and you're pretty much locked in to get a star player now, you're getting a star player at league. Like it's literally perfect. You don't need to start going crazy and making all of these trades and really bold decisions. And just hope the next GM comes in here and plays it more conservative in a way where, Dobson, trading him to me is a bold move. There's just not enough right-handed defensemen in the NHL.
Now, let me ask you this. Would you be willing now to say, let's take a step backwards. Let's look at next year as an additional year to transition where we can now then say, okay, we're getting a guy like Ritchie. We got Callum Ritchie coming up. We got Yzerman and whoever we take with the first overall selection. And then this next year, we can continue to build around it. If Callum Ritchie is ready to step in, maybe next year or the year after, a guy like Yzerman maybe he's another 2 years away. And whoever we draft number 1 overall, maybe he's 2 years away or a year away. I mean, would you be willing to then say, let's look at the transition at this time period? Let's take a step back. You can't get rid of everybody, but let's use this next year as another transition year where we're not going to be focused as much on playoffs, but younger players and incorporating them into the lineup and seeing what we've got.
It's only next season where I'm okay with that because I think time kind of works perfect here. You have Lee and Pajot expiring. So if you trade both of them, by the time the next season rolls around, you should have Yzerman able to come up. Maybe Nelson comes up too. Maybe Schaefer comes up also. Then you start to really have your young core finding their way in the league. So next year would be the year for that. 2-3 years, I'm not okay with that. And I thought that's where we were going to have to go until we got the first overall pick. I think it changes the timeline of how long it was going to have to be. Now I think it could actually take just one season.
And that's why I feel it's imperative that you get a better structure down in Bridgeport.
Yes.
Because you need it's not about, I mean, I know we were terrible wins and losses, but we don't develop any talent either. Not that we had a whole lot, but you need to start developing guys, and you need to have it be a teaching environment in Bridgeport so these guys can just seamlessly step into the NHL.
Agreed.
I don't think Danny Nelson's going to jump right into the NHL from college.
And here's the thing, too. You're going to miss on some of these guys. The likelihood that Yzerman, Callum Ritchie, Schaefer, Danny Nelson, all of these guys hit, very unlikely. You're going to miss on some guys where it's like Callum Ritchie's a can't miss. Cole Yzerman's a can't miss. Schaefer's a can't. You're going to miss on some of these guys. If you hit on every single one of these players, you end up like the Dallas Stars, where it's like, hey, everybody we draft is turning in exactly what we anticipate, and we're rocket shipping right up to the top, or we're a Stanley Cup contender year in and year out. So it's like, that's what I think. I agree with you too, Jack. You give it this next year, you start to transition. You're going to have draft. And could you imagine if you add Hagens into the mix there and you get rid of a guy like Romanoff in a first and a year after? Then I think you could really start to say, okay, great. We're giving Hagens another year in college. We're giving Schaefer another year in juniors. Let's see what Callum Ritchie has. We'll give him a shot in the NHL. Cole Yzerman's still in college. But then at that point, you could start integrating in these young players throughout the lineup. And again, it's not like as soon as you start integrating them in, you're going to be a Stanley Cup contender, right? 2 years from now, we're not a Stanley Cup contender. 3 years from now, we're like, okay, we want to be a playoff contender. 4 years from now, 5 years from now, that's where it's like, okay, we need to start hitting into the next gear. We go from a playoff contender to a team where it's like, hey, we're trying to win the Metro year in and year out, because that's where we think we should be.
Yeah, and I think that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not taking calls on Barzal or Horvat, because when these forwards come up, they need to be playing with some skill, even though, like, we don't know how competitive we're going to be. Like, they need to be around talent so that they're not just playing with, as you said before, like Noah Dobson's partners throughout the years. Like, there needs to be top-end talent that they're playing with for them to develop properly.
Yep. And you're going to have to teach these kids how to be professionals. That's what I mean. Like, you can't just get rid of everybody all at once. There's going to have to be guys who teach them, okay, what it's like to be professional, what it's like to win, what it's like to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, what the expectation is. So, like, it's a totally different animal, but you have that much young talent. You're hoping that half or more hit, and then, then you really quick cook them with oil, because, you've already got the goaltender solved. For the most part, I think that you're fine in net with Sorokin. Looking at what's out there, you could do a lot worse in net and make the playoffs every single year in and year out without Sorokin. Do you like his contract? Do you hate his contract? It could be argued from person to person, but the goaltending issue is solved. Defense in the spotty.
That contract's going to look really good.
I think so.
2 or 3 years.
Max Grumpy.
Max Manzone says, does drafting Schaefer all but guarantee one of Pulak, Dobson, or Mayfield move of the draft? How about Romanoff? He's a left-handed
defenseman.
Those guys are all right-handed defensemen.
Yeah, that's easy to do, Max. But yeah, this would be okay. You're looking to move either Pelech, Romanoff, and whoever else will be that bottom pairing guy. Yeah. George P.
Lou mentoring a new GM. What is he going to teach him? How to overpay and include no trade clauses like candy? How to load a team with bottom six talent? How to destroy your farm system? Yeah, remember what I said, TJ? What was the reason I didn't want Palmieri? You remember when we traded for him? Devilitis. You didn't want to infect the team with Devilitis. What we forgot was we had the architect of Devilitis. And he destroyed the Islanders franchise, just like he did with the Devils.
George.
Destroyed us. George Pay says, huh? What has Lou won these past 20 years? I'll wait. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Nothing.
Jeremy Ford Hamlet.
Trade the first pick for the second, seeing as the Sharks need Shaver, but the Sharks throw in Chernisov, Misa's teammate, and Saginaw. No.
We need a lot more than that. If we're moving from 1 to 2, you're going to have, because here's the thing. The Sharks, just from a point of negotiation, the Sharks desperately need the defenseman. They don't need another forward that they add to the cupboard. They need another defenseman. Dickinson's the only young defenseman that they have, and he plays zero defense, but he's an offensive defenseman.
Yes.
So it's like that pick means a whole lot more than just an extra prospect who performed well and was a second rounder for them last year and, moving back one spot. They're going to have to really overpay because otherwise I'm just picking the defenseman.
The only way I would move from 1 to 2 was if I'm getting San Jose's first round pick this year, which is number 2, San Jose's first round pick next year, non-lottery protected, and their lottery and the team, they also have they have another first round pick this year and that pick this year. That's the only way I'm making that move. You want that pick, you're gonna have to overpay for it. Give me a Godfather offer. An offer I just cannot refuse.
That would definitely that would be a Godfather offer.
I wouldn't even take that. I'm not playing the lottery game after watching what happened this season. We were 10th worst in the league. No thanks. Like anybody could win that thing.
If San Jose offered us that, I'd take that because then you're like, okay, I think at that point you're guaranteeing yourself Misa and you're guaranteeing yourself to trade up the Hagans in this year's draft. And then next year, you've got San Jose's selection as well as yours.
As well as yours.
San Jose has how many picks? How many picks does San Jose have in the first round this year?
I think they only have 2. I think they only have 2 this year, but I think they have 3 next year. I forget. They have a lot of first round picks too because they've been moving everybody out.
Yeah, I'd be fine. I don't think they would do something like that, but maybe they would. Maybe they value Schaefer that high, and if they did, they gave us their first rounder next year. The second overall pick and another first rounder this year. I think I'd be down for something like that. But
yeah,
anyhow.
That's it though. It has. I mean, it's a blow them away offer. Freedom Fund Venture says Lou can advise someone on not managing assets, signing guys you shouldn't, and too long. Not stockpiling draft picks, just hiring your dumb kid and pals and not the best folks, not winning. Sure. I don't see anyone who's pro Lou here. George Pace says, and the results speak volumes, and the current state of the Islanders is a shit show. And who gave us the shit show? Lou. Very true.
Rick Rock, Grumpy.
Please draft Schaefer. Yeah, like I said, that's my druthers. Like I said, you have to blow me out of the water to get me to not draft Schaefer.
Yeah.
Blow me out of the water.
I'd take that deal in a heartbeat if they're offering something like that. Goom goom.
Jack, if you found out there was a house for sale next to Grumpy, would you consider this investment? Would this opportunity prove transcendent? How come I can't pronounce it?
If you found the house for sale, would you move in next to the Grumpy?
I'd consider.
He would. Of course he would.
Frank Grumpy.
Schaefer has a bad collarbone. Don't touch him when he needs. Okay, he broke his collarbone. He's already back. He's playing already.
As Grumpy said so intelligently last time, when you break bones, they calcify and become sstronger.
That's right, stronger. You're never going to break that bone again. Not there. You're not.
I disagree, but here you go, Nick D.
You broke your collarbone when you were 3 years old. Have you ever had a problem with it since?
Okay.
No, thank you very much. Nick D says the grumpy groupies should invite Lou to Sparks Steakhouse for his final meeting.
Oh man, we're gonna make him a made man, right, Grumpy?
Yeah, we'll take him to be a made man, and it just didn't work out.
Jeremy Ford Hamlet,
Richie, Misa, and Yzerman would be an intriguing line. Nelson with Holmstrom and Finley down the road as our third line would be fine too. Most of the guys, I don't want to bag too much, but it's if you get 1 out of 3 guys really pan out, you're doing well. Jack McDonough says. Brock Nelson for general manager. Well, he did do the best job of anyone on the team this year managing assets. Freedom Front of Edge says, Grumpy, all the soft little sissies that cover the Islanders are scared of Lou, but not agents, other teams, etc. Yeah, exactly. They're not. Very true. Prime Timer says, I hate Lou, but dear God, please don't let him have any decision-making ability. I get it. New GM might need some help, but just give Lou a call or something. He does. No. I don't know if I can make it any clearer than that. No. John Aurelia says, sadly, I broke my collarbone twice. Got the nickname Mr. Glass after that. Was it the same collarbone and was it the same spot? That's what I want to know. Matthew S. says, I fractured a collarbone once. Very painful. I didn't say it wasn't painful. I just said you're not going to break in the same spot.
Oh, goodness, Grumpy. I think we need to stay away. Multiple collarbone breaks.
Okay, should I let you read this one?
It's a long one. You got this
I know. I'll take that one. Ray Coyne says, I can go toe-to-toe with the moves he made and the picks he made and the legitimacy he brought to the Islanders, who were a joke since their cup days. Very true. This team is good. No, it's not. And have some great players. Maybe a couple. They need a few more that will put them over the top. Wrong. If this show is this show is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. It's so good. Never heard one good thing about the team. So negative. The truth is painful, Ray. It's just painful.
I do love that when people bring us as negative.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Ray was happy with 3 playoff wins in the last 4 years. 3 playoff game wins in 4 years. Maybe that's a good team to him. Maybe that's the team that has great players. Maybe that's a team that just needs a few. Yeah, they do need a few guys to put them over the top. They're called Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Cale Makar, and let's throw a Matt Tkachuk too. Yeah, then I think, okay, we'll be a better playoff team for certain. Freedom Fund says, my question is for the Isles Den guy. That's you, Jack. Do you feel that only a complete and total idiot would hire and work with their dumb sons, even when the sons are lazy, dumb, don't show up, and don't get the job done?
Yeah.
I almost feel like, Grumpy, that was directed at.
It seems like it was directed towards me. Yes, it does.
I forgot to mention this. I wanted to mention this at the beginning of the show, but nonetheless, I'm mentioning it an hour and 41 minutes in. Next episode will be a call-in show. What? There it is, call-in show next episode.
I'm letting you know that I have guests over the Grumpy Estate next Saturday.
Who's over your house next Saturday?
It's the warden's birthday is next week. She's got a family coming in and a friend. So we're going to have a full house.
Big Bird and the group is in town.
A full house. That's all I'm saying. We got a full house next Saturday. I can still do the show, but, just be a little bit of, I know you bail out on I don't know how many shows. I'm sure I'll still be able to show up. I'm just telling you that there's going to be a full house next week. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Is there a different day we need to make the call-in show? We want to make the call-in show next week.
Okay. We can make it work. Friday night, if you want to do Friday night.
Friday night.
Okay, you don't want to do Friday night. Well,
do Friday, I guess.
It's a weekend thing. Some of them are going to be here it's going to be from Saturday through Wednesday.
Okay. Be on the lookout. We'll post on our socials. Maybe it's going to be Saturday. We're going to do the call-in show. We're going to do the call-in show. Maybe Friday evening. Anyway. Make sure that's why you got to follow us on Twitter. You got to follow the Facebook page. You got to make sure you have notification bell on, because the next show will be a call-in show. We've been saying we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're finally going to pull the trigger. The call-in show will be next week.
Okay. George Page says, Lou has been a shit show. If Nelson doesn't tell Lou to get me out, Lou signs him to some idiotic contract. Bridgeport's even worse since Lou showed. It's true. Those things are all true. The truth is a painful thing sometimes. John McDonough says nobody hated Lou like old GMs. They run out of runway. Got to know when to call it quits, and so far they haven't shown to know when to pull the cord. They've already pulled the cord. The cord has been pulled. He's gone. He is gone. It was an internet troll who put that out there, and everyone just ran with it because they were too lazy to fact check it. It's easy. Lazy and easy equals misinformation.
Jack is going to have a shit-eating grin on his face, grumpy old man, if Lou is involved with this team in any capacity next season.
That's fine.
Uh-huh. Here you go. Michael M. said, that's why Isles Den, shout out. Jack's a huge Sorokin guy. I wasn't sure if that was true or not, but that's why I figured I'd put that up. Prime time, Grump.
The Isles are officially connected to the mob, apparently. Lou is the real owner of the New York Islanders.
Yikes. Jack Grumpy is in his denial phase.
That's okay.
Drew
a lot of them all. Everyone eventually. Here's the thing. The reason why I'm known as the curve, because I'm so far ahead of what's going on. Eventually, everyone catches up. That's okay. I don't mind he's a little bit behind. It's all right. Eventually, he'll come down. He'll bow. Yes, Grumpy, you were right. I was wrong. They all do it. Every single one does it. Andrew M. says Islanders ownership is totally incompetent. We don't know if it's totally incompetent. We're going to find out. Totally strong. Freedom Fund Adventure goes, TJ, the length of time for not having a GM is fine. In another week, it may be different, but right now is normal. TJ, you going to give us an actual recap of the bachelor party?
I mean, we went to Dallas and had a good time. I don't know what else to say. It was a fun time. X had a good time. We had a good time, and that was about it. We were in Dallas.
Tommy Baffy says Lou is not being rehired. Exactly. It's not happening. And he knows because he's emptied out the trash. Drew says, Grumpy, you're still going to watch the product. You got a whole podcast dedicated to Islanders fans. Don't kid yourself. There are going to be some changes. I know that.
Nick D. Grump.
If they did rehire Lou, I would become a Ranger fan. F it.
Oof.
There you go. Just switch over to the Rangers. Their team at least tries to win. George Pace says, and Staple, once he lost his cozy relationship with Snow, he became just another reporter.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Drew says, and Grumpy's guy Joel Quenneville was just hired by the Ducks. Who was gonna have the balls to take the dive? It's the Ducks. The Ducks will make the playoffs next year.
Wow.
Book it. Ducks will make the playoffs. He's just that good a coach. Now he's 66 now too, which is a little bit old, but he's a great coach.
You think the Ducks are making the playoffs next year?
Joel Quenneville's a coach. They were much better this year, were they not?
They were.
No.
It's not that crazy. It's not that crazy of a take. I can see it.
I mean, Greg Cronin was their coach. Greg Cronin.
They're coming.
And they got a lot of young talent on the come too. Tommy Baffy says Lou is still with the Islanders, guys. He was not fired. His contract runs out on June 30th. I heard it was May 28th. But Tommy knows a lot of stuff because as being the janitor, he does empty out the trash cans. And Tommy adds, Lou and his staff are in charge of the Islanders draft, much like Garth Snow was in 2018 after Lou was hired in late May.
Drew.
Hell no, Grumpy. You literally just bashed Higgins 5 minutes ago. It's true. I did that. That's because everyone's just so all for Higgins. I'm like, no. Like I said, if you're moving out a bad player, which Romanov is, and a late first-round pick next year because you're going to move other guys at this deadline, you can recoup those. That's fine. I mean, if you're in love with the guy. You just can't take him at number one. Cannot do that.
I do. Now, SP says this. It's weird. This has been a sentiment that's been shared amongst people online who just had been messaging me. Is like, in my opinion, the reporter causing the most outrage with crappy reporting is Chris Botta right now.
It's not Chris Botta. It is not Chris Botta.
I think people are upset. Chris Botta did carry along. He thinks that Lou is going to be involved with the team going forward too.
Chris Botta was not the first one. It's not Chris Botta.
Okay.
It's not Chris Botta. I know who it is. Who it is.
Drew.
Not Chris Botta. Drew says, hell no, Grumpy. Oh, we just heard that one. Go ahead. Say it again. Hell no, Grumpy. All right. Drew also says, TJ, I think Grumpy's about to overdose on delusional pills.
I agree.
Tommy Baffy says, and Ken Holland did pull his name from consideration for the Islanders team president of Hockey Ops.
Honestly, that was a blessing in disguise.
It certainly was.
He would have been a hideous hire for us.
Andre M says, no one will ever trust ownership again if Lou is brought back. He's not coming back. He's gone.
Okay, Drew Grumpy.
Drew says, if it's actually true that James Higgins has come back into Grumpy's favor, that'll be a bigger comeback than Kim Kardashian. I don't hate the Higgins kid. If you were drafting him at 3 or 4, I'm fine with it. At number 1, no.
You were hating on James Hagan.
I was hating pretty strong on James Hagan. I don't. Was it really that strong?
Yes,
it was very strong.
Very strong.
I know. It was a little.
You just got in a position. You said, "I'm just going to double down and be extremely hyperbolic."
I will admit it was hyperbolic, and I apologize, James. I'd love to see you in Islander pajamas. You've already done that. But maybe in the Islanders jersey, which I'm fine with as long as we get. As soon as you said get rid of Romanov, that just changed my mind. That was the end of that podcast, and I did flip on that podcast. But
Stop.
James, I'm rooting for you to be in Islanders with the number 4 pick with no Romanov. David just says, Grumpy, you're 100% right again. You know what you're talking about. Oh, well, thanks. Michael Moy says, it's scary how accurate Grumpy is. LOL. Matthew Carbone says, Lou will be gone. Darsh will get hired. Maybe Yarmo or Bergeron as president of Hockey Ops. That's best case scenario.
We are seeing a lot of people mentioning maybe John Cooper to the Islanders as head coach. And Darsh can bring him in as the head coach.
John Cooper's not going anywhere.
That's dead. That was a dream.
That sounds like maybe somebody just throws something like that up against the wall and hope somebody runs with it.
Well, I would say yes. How much longer of a leash do you think a guy like John Cooper has?
He already said he's coming back next year.
He is a leash. I watched the press conference. He's going nowhere.
You don't think he's done a great job? Maybe Florida's just damn good.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Florida's going to get bounced by Toronto. You still saying the same thing?
I said
hold on.
Toronto
On
was gonna
Wednesday,
win.
really quickly, Wednesday, you were just affirming how Toronto was winning the Stanley Cup and knocking Florida out. And now after today's loss, where Florida's only down 2-1, now is Florida going to win the Stanley Cup again, Grumpy? You flip-flop like a motherfucker in the playoffs.
It was yesterday that Florida won in overtime. I don't know. I reserve judgment to change my mind. You know that. As of yesterday, I'm rooting. Here's the thing. I'm absolutely rooting for Florida, but that doesn't mean I don't. I mean, if Berube wins with Toronto, he's going down as one of the greatest coaches of all time, winning with that Blues team and then winning Toronto. Hasn't won since 1963 or 65, whatever year it is. I mean, they're going to put statues of him up in Toronto.
Probably right. Now, the question I really have is this. You think of John Cooper, let's say they get another first-round exit next year. You think John Cooper's still safe with his job?
Yeah.
Yes. I think he stays. The team is really, really competitive. They've turned the roster around in just a matter of 2 or 3 years. I mean, they've totally gone from one of the slowest skating teams in the league to a team that has some pace now. I think he's a wonderful coach.
The wicked 50 cal, Grumpy.
Can't believe I agree with Phil on anything, but he was spot on with trading up for Hagens, trade Romanov, trade Pajot, Lee, retain, and get back the draft capital you lose by getting Hagens. Yeah, I'm just not trading our first-round pick next year. That's the only thing. I'm not. Romanov, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Phil throws so much shit up against the wall that some of it's bound to stick. Some doesn't, but some does. And I agree with him on that. If you can pull that off, that's great. No problem. But it's moving.
It's funny. The analytics, all these analytics is like, hey, Dobson's projected cap, it should be 10.25 million. And I'm like, I wonder who said that 3 years ago that he'd be a $10 million defenseman.
I'm just going to tell you.
I tell you, if he gets a $10 million contract, the fucking Islanders fan base will never hear the end of that shit for as long as I live.
I'm just going to tell you, if he signs a contract extension like that, TJ will not do the show anymore. It'll be a mic drop moment for him.
Retire on top. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Oh, man.
Believe me, all the fans would like to have you off the show, too. The Wicked 50 cal goes, can't believe. Oh, you just read that.
Sorry, just read that one.
Thanks.
I didn't remember. I'm trying to do everything that X should be doing. All right.
Freedom Front of It says, we had Phil on the show because TJ is a lazy piece of shit. I mentioned if you trade assets to move up, you aren't doing it for Hagens, but fruity assets, Phil said, but it's for the fourth because retard is control freak.
I don't know what that is, but fair enough. Grumpy is 100% correct, says Matthew Carbone. Wicked 50 cal, Grumpy.
Somebody told me Kakalena interviewed twice with us as a president. I like him. Madigan for GM amongst the known candidates. I take flack for that take. Here's the thing. They cannot have anyone who's tied with the organization in charge anymore. You need to cut the cord.
I'm looking for complete new blood.
New direction.
Yep.
Frank from Empire State goes, we're probably waiting to hire someone currently in the playoffs. I bet it is. Maybe. I don't think so. But I don't know.
Take this from Tommy B.
Oh, Staple posts a lot of false information.
Dun, dun, dun. All righty. Fair enough.
Drew says, TJ and Jack, I think it's safe to say Grumpy has been a bit off his rocker tonight. Okay, why? I guess Drew thinks that there's a chance Lamoriello is coming back. He's not. He's gone. He is gone.
John M.
Soto was performing like the Islanders special teams. He had 2 home runs last night.
I assume that's not very good.
He's not been. Well, he's been okay. He should be doing a little better.
Right.
Frank, I mean, he's hitting like 275 or something like that. He got 6 or 7 home runs this year. Frank from Empire State goes, TJ is beyond brain dead, LOL. He doesn't even consider that they're waiting for other candidates that are in the playoffs. Come on, TJ, where's your brain?
I will, and that was yesterday, by the way, that Matthew Darsh was interviewed.
Yes.
Okay.
Was Lou Lamoriello there for the interview? I'm going to bet not.
Oh, my God.
Going to bet not.
Oh, my God. Hold on a second. This is what Stefan did put out there in a tweet, Grumpy. Here it is. Let's put this up here. If the Islanders are keen on having somebody mentor a general manager like Darsh, The option might already be here. And no, I'm not talking about Lou Lamoriello. Pellegrini. Did you read this article? Shit, I didn't know it was an article. Somebody tagged me and I didn't want him reading it.
I did.
Who was it that he was alluding to?
Pellegrini.
Pellegrini.
He's the cap guy. Right? Pellegrini's the cap guy.
Yeah, that's correct.
Harsh did the cap stuff for Tampa, though. So I almost would rather just say, hey, buddy, you take it and run with it.
It's not Lou. All right. It's not Lou. Freedom Fund Venture goes, Grumpy, Malkin and his investors are paying for all the development at Belmont, not the broke-ass state of New York. Those losers can't afford anything. He got concessions. Believe me, he got concessions from the state. Everything's not coming off his dime. He got the infrastructure, all that stuff. He got that. Freedom Fund Venture adds, Bada's pod partner said psychopath Phils was the first to report that Lou was staying on as an advisor. You're wasting time with something Phil's made up. Stop falling for that psychopath's BS. I'm not going to confirm or deny if that's true.
Already the wicked 50 cal.
Tampa trades first like it's candy. I understand why Tampa does it, but we gave Lou flack for it. Do you think he would change his mindset with the Islanders? Not sure. I want a front office that drafts and develops. If you were in the situation Tampa was in, that's when you go for it, not the Islanders. Every GM doesn't do that. You have to adjust and adapt based to the situation that you're in. I don't think Darsh is going to be like that. Anyone who comes here knows it's going to be a rebuild. They're not deluding themselves. The whole organization needs a freshening up. The whole organization, not the same guys. All these guys who are on the team now, by the time the Islanders are good, maybe 4 or 5 of them will be left. Everyone else is going to be gone. Everyone else.
You think it's going to take that long to turn it around?
Look at the age of the players. You think Engvall is going to be here? You think anybody on that 4th line is going to be here? Anybody on the 3rd line?
Option's still going to be here. Barzal, Bo Horvat.
There you go. Sorokin, that's 4. Holmstrom, there's 5. Everybody else is up for grabs. I could see those 5 guys being here when the team is good. Everybody else will be gone. There's no one else on the team that you could say, man, that's a building block piece. Nobody. Wicked 50 Cal says best case scenario, as Phil said, was to draft Schaefer and Meester at 1. Romanov traded to Utah as a part of a trade package and draft Higgins at 4. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, but you have to draft Schaefer at 1. I don't want Meester at 1. You don't trade. You wouldn't draft Misa and then trade up and draft Higgins. You just wouldn't do that.
Probably not. Rick Roma.
If Schaefer is playing for the Islanders next season, it will be a disaster for the team and the player. Agreed.
I can see that.
Rick Roma says Utah isn't giving up number 4 for Romanoff in a late first in this draft. That's crazy. It's next year's first round pick.
They might be into that.
They might, Rabbit. They might.
Okay. Well, we don't really.
TJ, you ever watch Bugs Bunny? You ever see Bugs Bunny cartoons?
Yeah, I've seen Bugs Bunny.
Remember the one where they were hiding the 2 criminals in Bugs's house, and they were coming around. The cop was coming out, and they kept on stuffing them in the oven, lighting it up, and blowing a guy up. You guys,
no.
If my friend Rocky was in here, would I like the stove? You might, Rabbit. You might. Would I throw a match in there? No, I guess not. He blew him up. It was hilarious. Bugs Bunny was great.
Yeah, I remember that episode very vaguely.
Tommy, you never saw it. Tommy Bauer says Romanov, Pajot, and the 2026 Colorado first gets it done. Okay.
Would you do that for Higgins?
Sure. I want Pajot gone anyway.
Yeah, I would do that.
Why not? If that gets it done, why not?
Okay.
You get the kid, you get the Long Island kid, gives you good PR. He's not going to be playing here. The team's going to be really shitty. We're going to be a top 5 pick next year. No problem at all. Move off Lee at the deadline, move off one of the defensemen, get another couple of first-round picks, then you're cooking with grease.
Got a lot of cap space, too.
Oh, that's right. Wicked 50 Cal goes. Another package floating around that I would do for Utah's first to draft Higgins would be Pellick, Holmstrom, and the lower of the first round as well. I'm not trading Holmstrom.
Wow.
He's young. He absolutely improved his game. Now, I'm bagged on Holmstrom quite a bit. Patrick Roy's got him to play. He's not allergic to wood anymore. So he's not afraid to go into the corner boards. I saw improvement from him. He's a guy. He's a guy that you can be on this team for a number of years. He's really, really cheap, and he's showed marked improvement this year. Pellick, that's okay. I'd rather get rid of Romanoff because I hate him so much.
You keep Holmstrom, though. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, Jack, because I haven't asked you about this. Are you happy or upset about them keeping Patrick Waugh?
I'm not happy about it, but actually let me backtrack. I wasn't happy about it, but he has a lot of experience developing and coaching at that with younger players. So I think there's more of a place for him here now than there was before. But I don't know. I'm not a fan. I don't like how he handled the Duclair situation with him playing in the top 6 the whole season. The special teams were a disaster. That to me is always a reflection of your head coach. I didn't like how he managed late game situations. I don't like some of the this is such a small thing, but one of the most absurd sequences I watched this season was when we were in overtime in a game in March where we were like 3 points out of a playoff spot and we're 2 minutes into overtime. Anders Lee is taking a face-off against Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. Like, that is just atrocious. That cannot happen. I don't even know if Lee should be out there for overtime. It's like, I just don't, it's little things like that he does throughout the game. And it's like focusing on all these micro details when the team isn't good enough. I get that, but I don't know. Yep. Thank you, Tommy.
Tommy Baffy has an opinion. Patrick Waugh is a horrible head coach. Best hope, a tough 2025-26 season, and Cooper joins Darsh in 26-27.
What do you guys think of Patrick Waugh, though?
I don't think he's a great head coach either.
I've shared my opinion, and I diagnosed it immediately as soon as it came here. And people hate when I say it because I say the same thing, but it was true. He's a good motivator. I think he's a good man manager, but he is a hideous head coach. That's it.
Another reason I hate when TJ is right about something, he never lets you forget it.
Everybody else, oh, hey, Patrick Waugh doing this, doing that. I'm like, nah, I'm not seeing
Todd Peterson says, Peterson. I put in off. Now you know what I'm talking. What am I talking about there, Jack? When I said Peterson,
I can't remember, but
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes.
I put in an offer sheet on the defenseman Wallstrom in Vancouver as an aside to be a bold steal him. I would love Schaefer and a center, but not at the expense of being out of the McKenna sweepstakes. Play it out till the CBA and pick Rich and get then 2 ships in the same water. Fix Bridgeport. Okay.
a lot to digest here.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not giving up. I want a shot at McKenna too. That's why I'm not giving up the Islanders' first round pick. It's just not happening. Colorado's not going to be picking in the top. They're going to make the playoffs, right? They're not going to be a lottery team. The Islanders are absolutely going to be a lottery team next year. And with a little bit of luck, moving some guys out, maybe you're picking in the top 5, and then maybe you can move another couple of guys, and maybe we get lucky again, like Jersey did, like the Rangers did. Maybe we get lucky like that.
The Metro teams just happen to get a lot of luck when it comes down to the draft lottery.
They fire Lou Lamoriello. They take away the All-Star game. We get the number 1 pick. I don't know. That's kind of weird, isn't it? Drew says, I personally think this organization and Lou has done everything they can to screw up Dobson's development. I agree. Roster construction on Lou was easily the biggest culprit. True.
I want to ask you, Jack, do you think it was very odd that the day that they announced that the All-Star game wasn't going to be here, that we won the draft lottery? It was the highest or the most teams that one had jumped to becoming number 10 to number 1. Do you think there's any sort of connection and correlation between the two?
It's hard not to think so, right? It's just it's hard not to think so.
Not like stuff has happened like that before.
It's very odd. It's just insane.
I'd agree. And I put the conspiracy hat on. It benefited us, so I really don't care. But I definitely think there was some tomfoolery that went on. Go ahead, Grumpy. Free in front of
Ugh, I'm getting ready to blow my brains out of this comment. Free in front of Adventure says, Grumpy, the Islanders aren't trading Romoff. He was the Islanders' best defenseman. That is so – there's nothing further from the truth. So you 3/8 want to give up a valuable defenseman. Okay. Within 2 years, he's a bottom pairing defenseman on the Islanders if you keep him. Because Schaefer will be on the first pairing, Pelk on number 2, Romanov on the back end. Sorry. That's just the way it is because he blows. And the number 26 pick, which was going to be more valuable than this year's number 4. Number 26 next year will not be better than number 4 this year.
2026 pick is what he's saying. Which will be
Not
more
the out, but not Colorado's. Colorado is going to be picking,
What does Colorado do going forward?
You think they're blowing it up? I don't.
No,
They're
not blowing it up.
Forward?
They'll be better next year. Landeskog is back healthy now.
What's the direction of Colorado?
They're
Seriously,
trying to win.
It's just I feel like it's just you keep on trying with those two. Just whatever they can do to keep them to try to make them a contender, they're just going to make any move they possibly can. But they're running out of like first round picks, I think.
Yep,
and prospects.
You have McKinnon and McCarr, and Taves, and Landeskog.
Okay, you brought Landeskog. We lost Rantanen, and Nichushkin is he's a bender away from being back in the NHL.
You don't know why he was in the little thing. You don't know why he was there. You do not know.
He's a bender away. That's exactly what it is. John McDonough.
From what I understand, there are better all-around finishers who are finishers next year, Empire. Otherwise, I'd be in the Misa camp.
I don't know. The Schaefer kid's just too good at defense, I think, defensively to get rid of him.
Freedom Front Adventure goes, Higgins is projected between 4 and 8, but yeah, let's make an idiot trade because the kid grew up on Long Island. Only the Jets, Giants, Islanders fans come up with this crap. Like I said, if they have their heart set on him, if you want to trade for him at 4 and you can get rid of Romanov, that's addition by subtraction right there.
Hold on. What happened in the Edmonton Vegas game? I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in on that.
I don't know.
Did that game officially end?
I don't know.
I think Vegas just won at the buzzer.
Okay. Wow.
Oh yes, Vegas won. Smith. 4-3. Come on, Vegas.
Big win for Vegas.
Skinner was in net today. Picard got hurt or something, picking his toenail, picking his nose. He got in.
Rick Roma.
Rick Roma says, TJ, you might be right about Utah trading the 4th overall to get help now, but I'm 100% sure that they could do it better than Romanov in a late first. 30 other teams can beat that package.
I don't know.
Well, you know what? Just offer it. There's no harm in offering.
Maybe they do, but I don't know.
I just hate Romanov so much that it works for me.
It
absolutely works for me.
I'm willing to suspend probably what the most likely scenario is because it's a dream scenario for me.
For me, it's a dream scenario. I get rid of Romanov, who I hate. I get rid of him. You ever see he's got like a little lemon head? You ever notice how his head is shaped? Something's wrong with him.
I don't look at his head shape. No.
Well, I can't help it. Every time you see him, it's like that, like a lemon head. Todd Peterson goes, Utah smoked it at number 4. Wow. Now they're possibly a Caldera. I don't know what that word is, if it even is a word. Hopefully he typed it wrong, or maybe I'm just too stupid to know what the word is. We'll go with that one. With all the talent, rich like the Leynords in a new land, the Mammoth have a future. I hate that name too, the Mammoth.
No, I like the Mammoth. Not that, Jack.
I would rather go with Grizzlies or Mammoths are freaking extinct. You want to have an elephant as your team mascot?
Yes, I like the Mammoth.
You got to have them on all 4s. You can't have them running through the stands.
I got to see the jersey.
You see the
Mammoth
jersey,
could be. It's not been released yet, has it?
No, they have a jersey out already.
You sure?
It's an elephant with tusks. That's it.
I'll pull it up there.
Ty Mason says, why do you guys want Romanov off the team so bad? He actually plays defense. He does not play defense. People like him. Wow, look at him selling out the body to block shots. Look at the way he hits that guy. He's horrible. He's the worst positional defender. Okay, I can't say worse in the league because Owen Power plays in the league. He's bottom 10 in defensive positioning. He's just terrible. Sorry.
I will say this. It kind of does look a little bit like clip art, but I do like at least the thought process behind the design because it does have like the mountains like the range up in Utah for the mountains and like the snowy caps on that. And it's like it mixes in with the little mammoth. I do like that, but I'm like, I think there could be a little bit more work done on the actual design. It looks kind of a little clip arty.
That's it. That's the logo.
Yes.
You're right. They should have named it something else. They should have named the Grizzlies. How about a grizzly, man? Grizzlies look mean. I want some teeth on my animals. This guy, I mean, mammoths eat freaking grass and shit. I mean, how tough can that team possibly be? You want a team where it says, you know what? You mess with us, we're going to kill you. We're going to chew you up and spit you out. Freedom Fund Red says Romanov is most likely to be an Islander longer than Dobson. I 100% disagree.
No way.
No way.
Rick Roman.
Rick Roman says, I've been here 20 minutes, and it's been a total Romanov bash fest. Then they go and trade Romanov for the 4th overall pick. Never change, guys.
It is.
No, you'd have to give up way more than Romanov to get the 4th overall. And that wasn't my suggestion. I mean, if you can get that done, Romanov and a late first-round draft pick next year, that's a no-brainer.
Correct. No-brainer.
Adam P says, hey, gang, love you guys. Love you too, Adam.
Appreciate it, Adam.
Ty Masson once again says Pelech has had some really unfortunate injuries the last couple of years. He's injury prone. That's why.
A lot of concussions.
Yeah, he's always hurt.
Anytime he gets hit in the head, I'm like, concussion. Every single time. It's like 2.
Yeah.
Best ability is availability. No. Frida Funner just says, damn it, TJ. Try to use some logic. 26th pick, way more valuable than this year's 4th. It depends on where you're picking. I mean, James Higgins, if he was picked in next year's draft, he wouldn't be like pick 24, 25, 26.
Maybe like in the 10s, like to the teens.
In the teens, probably. Yeah. And you know what? That's fine. But if you can maximize that value, you do it. David DeGesu says, trade Romanov, JGP, and Colorado first rounder for James Higgins. As a number 1 pick, you select the defenseman this year. Listen next season at the trade deadline. Can trade Lee, Pulak, Pelech, or Mayfield. With him, will need to include like a second rounder. I didn't understand the end, but yeah, I'm all for moving those guys. You're not going to move everybody in one offseason. You're not going to move everybody at one trade deadline. You just can't do that. But you have to do it. You know, you got to cull these guys from your roster. Have other guys take on salary, eat some salary if you have to get better prospects back or better draft pick compensation. I'm all for that. Vinny says Dobson is defensive liability. If he is not going to score goals, he is horrible defensively. I disagree. I still disagree.
It'd be nice to see him with a consistent partner. He's always been jostling around from partner to partner to partner. I just like to see him with Pelech for an extended time period, personally.
He was pretty good with Pelech, as you remember. John McDonough says Sorokin on a playoff team would be a top 5 goalie in the playoffs. Absolutely. Freedom Farm Red says, Grumpy, you wish you had a son like Romanov. TJ, telling someone to use your brain is just candy.
Use your brain.
Actually,
baby.
I wouldn't mind. Romanov makes a lot of money, so I wouldn't mind if Romanov. I mean, what did he make? $2 million this year? That's more than I made. I would tell you that much. Robert Marshall goes, Sorokin got 30 wins with this joke of a roster. It's true. It's true.
Coach Tommy B.
Sorokin was great in the 6-game season against Carolina. He gave up a shitty OT goal. It happens. Yeah, Jack.
Game two was not good.
Mr. Jam Span says Horvat and Dobson had 3 power play goals at the World Championships today. Just proves we need more skill and talent. Yeah, you play with better players. Guess what? The results are better. Go figure. Robert Marshall says, to me, Sorokin is the best goalie in the world. I don't think he's best goalie in the world, but I still think he's top 5.
Yeah, I was about to say, he's somewhere in the middle. He's definitely top 5, I think.
Didn't I say top 5 earlier? Or did I change my number again? I don't know. It's possible. I'm going to go with, I like Sorokin, so I'm going to say top 5. SSE says, Larry Brooks thinks the Islanders could go after Cooper to run things. He's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Tommy Baffy adds, Danny Nelson had a quality World Juniors tournament. Yeah. Hopefully he pans out and he can turn into something. He's probably a bottom 6 guy when all's said and done. Robert Marshall goes, at least we don't have to worry about Hagen's leaving, and he might be better than the other 2 anyway. No.
I'm not sure about that.
He's not. He's small. He's smaller than the other 2. SB goes, I'm a firm believer that they will hire a GM before the end of next week. They need to. The combine is legit in like 3 weeks. They already know who the best prospects are, the next draft guys. They already know.
Yeah.
SB goes, I think they floated the Lou thing to get a fan reaction. Oh, I think so too. If I were them, I just give Darce the GM, and I'm not giving a president of hockey ops. Absolutely not. Assuming they can't get Bergeron to take president of hockey ops and call it a day. No way he's getting president of the hockey ops.
You don't joke from assistant GM, yeah.
No way. Tommy Baffy says, Grumpy Schaefer's reminds me of Paul Coffey, my friend. The kid, you know what? Maybe. Paul Coffey's a Hall of Famer, by the way. For the young folks who don't know who Paul Coffey is.
Pretty decent hockey player.
Played for Edmonton, won a bunch of cups. I just see Makar when I see him. I just think Makar. Frank from Empire State goes, let the playoffs finish them. I'm telling you, the Islanders are waiting to interview other guys who are on playoff teams playing as we speak.
Maybe. All right.
Maybe.
All righty, Frank. I believe you.
Freedom from Adventure goes, Sorokin is the best goalie in the NHL. You have no idea how horrific the Islanders defense is and how horrible the Islanders team defense is. That's true. when Romanov's on your team defense, it's going to be bad.
That's big.
Right, Jack? Wouldn't you agree?
No, I can't. Best goalie in the world? Come on now.
Well, he's just saying it's bad because
because of Romanov.
Look at that. Hey, Draisaitl scored with 0.2 seconds to go. Unfortunately, it was for Vegas.
Okay.
SB goes,
Wow.
We need new management now. I don't know how the heck he did that.
Oh, wow.
Nice deflection, though. Very nice deflection. SB says we need new management now. We need them to start evaluating the team now. We need them to implement staffing change now. The draft is zooming towards us. Free agency right after that. We can't wait around. I don't think they're going to make any moves in free agency.
How quickly do we need to start making moves in action?
Now. Andre M says he wants Yarmo as president, Darch as GM. That's fine. I can live with that.
Todd
Peters says Hyperbole to fill the seats and maybe some local magic is the play. With a Hagen's pick, it would be nice to see, but that's a gamble. So maybe we need a dancing partner. We need a GM. What an opportunity to go big or play safe. Got screwed with Taves, so I'd love an Ian Cole to come in and teach the kids to play some D, but that's money. I don't know if he's advocating trading down to pick Hagen's. I'm not worried. I want the team to be good. I don't care about a PR stunt.
Draft the best player available unless somebody gives you an offer that is completely fuck-up proof almost.
Yes.
Formula One racing super fan.
Hello, Grumpy and TJ. Question: if the Islanders bring in Darsh and Kakalainen, since Cooper has 1 year left in Tampa, is Cooper on the market? Will Darsh try to bring Cooper over?
I think we kind of answered this already. Sorry, I had to start from earlier, but I think probably not. John Cooper, just based off what you say, it has to do a lot in order to get canned.
Jack, how much rope? Well, if he's only got 1 year left on his deal, and I don't know if that's what I don't know what his contract situation is. Jack, how much rope do you give Patrick Waugh?
Oh, if I'm already done with him.
So no more than a year.
Yeah, and he has 3 years left on his deal.
Cooper does.
I think. Oh, I thought you said Patrick Waugh.
No, Patrick Waugh's got 3 years left, Grumpy.
Yeah, I'm talking about what would you do if Cooper came in after a year? Would you be all for that?
Yeah, 100%. I would be all in for Cooper, but I just know he's not going anywhere. I watched the press conference that Tampa's GM had. He's not going anywhere ever, John Cooper. That's what I got from it.
Okay.
Excuse me. SP says, personally, I wasn't Schaefer. If you watch highlights, Schaefer is the one that immediately stands out. Oh, he wants Schaefer.
Yeah.
He's one that immediately stands out and is immensely skilled. Misa has a 6 shot, but Schaefer is just glorious to watch. He is. He won me over.
Yep.
And I'm like, why would you draft somebody who's only played so many games? Until I saw him. I'm like, my gosh, the kid's phenomenal.
You look at his point production, massive jump from the year prior to this year, and he's young. So
right. He's not a big scorer. Well, he did that this year when he played. So SB goes, and think about it. How many guys like Makar and Heiskanen are there in the league? Hughes, Dahlin, maybe. Now, how many guys like Marner? Way more. So much harder to find a Schaefer type player. Exactly.
Agreed.
There's very, very few of those guys. True. Program this says it's time to make the Islanders great again. I agree. SP heads. All I'm saying is I want Schaefer and I'm blown away. I watch Misa or Hagens. They're still fabulous players, but they don't pop out to me like Schaefer does. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Mr. Janspan.
Schaefer looks good, but the small sample size makes it a riskier pick. Misa tied for OHL goals with Patty Kane. He's the safe pick in this case. Plus, we need offense and skilled defensemen take longer. The team's on a rebuild. It's not like we were a team that just didn't make the playoffs and we were playoff juggernaut the last couple of years and injuries derailed us. It's not the case. We're a team on the downside. Program this says I want Misa. I want to score some goals.
Misa.
Misa don't like that. Misa don't like to score goals.
All right, then, Jar Jar.
Matthew S. says, good evening, gentlemen. Really hope Lou's remnants aren't pushing potential candidates away. No. No one. He's done. He's no longer in the National Hockey League. He's done. He's finished. It's over for him. Never getting hired again. Enjoy the grandchildren if you have any.
At least I will put this up again. Like you just look at the production difference. Now again, he's 17. He's the youngest kid in this year's draft.
He's still 17.
Yeah, he's still 17. I mean, he'll be 17 even after the draft. September birthday. So he doesn't turn 18 until pretty much almost like the start of the season. But again, like you just look at the jump he made. He's a defenseman. Like look at the plus minus as well. Jesus. I mean, like again, I'm not going to pretend like I've watched full games of the Erie Otters. Probably nobody has because we didn't know we were even getting the first overall pick, and the last time they played was like late April. So like nobody's probably watched full games of theirs. But again, the numbers look great. Everything we're watching the highlights show that the kid definitely can show burst. Anyway, here you go, Grumpy SB.
Honestly, I just want to tank next year. I was watching Canada, Holinka, Gretzky highlights to try and watch Schaefer. Literally every single play had something to do with McKenna. That kid is insane. Yeah, he is the player for next year. Absolutely. How would you like to get
McKenna? That was Hagens for this year. Remember, Grumpy?
Yeah. Well, I'll still take McKenna. McKenna's really good, though. I mean, I'd like to have McKenna on my team, too. How about that? Frank from Empire State goes, Misa, without hesitation, this team lacked goals for decades.
All righty. Okay.
I see Misa. I think Jar Jar Binks. Sorry.
All righty.
Joseph Rompolo says, Misa is a monster. Look at his points last year. The Islanders need this kid, period. They need everything.
His numbers are really good, but again, like he apparently didn't play well in the big games. When you look at his playoff numbers, are drastically different than his regular season numbers, and that's a knock on him. He doesn't show up in big games. Andre M.
McKenna is better than Bedard. I think Bedard is underperformed considered, or Celebrini. Okay, well, Celebrini is really good. Mr. Jamspan says Misa will be the coolest thing.
Closest thing
to I'm sorry. I see Misa. I just think that.
He likes.
I don't want him on the team. I don't want him on the team because I'll keep on saying Misa. He's the closest thing to a scorer we've had since Palfi. He's like Tavares, but with wheels.
If we rebuild, then Schaefer. If we just retool, then Misa. See, that's what I don't want. I don't want us to just try to say, let's do a retool and let's bring in Misa so we can go ahead and be competitive immediately. Here you go, SP.
I think you guys are overestimating the impact Misa would have immediately.
Possibly. I don't care about the impact immediately, though.
No, he thinks that there are other people in the chat are overestimating that.
Yeah.
He says, I think it was just incredible to think about is that we will have one of Schaefer, Misa, or Hagens in our system. It's mind-boggling. If you don't draft Schaefer and to a lesser extent Misa, then you've blown the draft. Yes. You've absolutely blown the draft. Oh, I don't know what that long comment was. John A says, battered fan syndrome is strong with this team. Lou's supposed relinquished control of the team and winning the draft lottery got me back to being excited again. 100% agree, John. Only to be let down again at the possibility that the ghost of Lamoriello remains to haunt me. That is battered fan syndrome. That's what it is.
Yep.
I just don't believe in that.
David
DeJesu says, I see Hagens dropping and being selected 4th to 6th. He's certainly not going any later than Boston. So if Boston's picking 6, that's the absolute latest he's going. Robert D says, how did Matthew Schaefer go up in value after January while not playing?
He came back and was healthy the tail end of the year.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, that's how it was. Rick Relma, he played so well at the juniors, and then he played towards the tail end of the year, and he played so well.
Rick Roma adds, Sharks are rebuilding, and you think you're getting their first next year in a loaded draft so they can move up one spot in this year's shitty draft? Okay, it's time for me to shut it down. Good night. Well, then you keep the pick. To move the pick and move off of that guy, you're going to have to pay through the nose. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. SP.
That's because he was so insanely good when he did play and just completely took over the competition that the scouts think he is worth it. He's phenomenal. The kid's phenomenal. And he skates like the wind.
Todd Peterson.
I feel the pain watching Vegas up 3-2, and McNabb sure did in game 2. Ouch.
Yeah. Drew.
I do miss the twice-a-week episodes. I'll say that.
Yeah.
You did that this week.
We did.
Yeah, first time in a long time.
Yeah.
And Drew said, so that's what TJ meant by there's going to be some changes that he inevitably hasn't worked on yet. Grumpy's going to retire from the show, and X will slide in his new co-host.
Maybe.
I would like to be X on this show. I'd like it. X, I don't think he doesn't have the hockey fever like we do, though. That's for certain. Freedom Fund Adventure goes, TJ, can you record Doc Page giving her medical opinion on broken collarbones and the likelihood of reinsurance?
Re-injury, maybe.
Yeah. Wasn't that the Martinek issue?
Yeah, anytime Grumpy's saying that, again, Grumpy's just speaking out of his ass. That's why I found it funny.
Matthew Sklarov says Cooper has one more year left.
That's where all the speculation is coming from. He's like got 1 year left on the contract.
Golfman says Chris Tanev was one of the best free agent signings of the offseason. Great move by the Leafs there. Yeah, Chris Tanev's a good, solid defensive defenseman.
Agree with that.
I mean, those are the type of guys you need to sign in the offseason.
Yeah.
You don't need to sign everybody. He did sign a pretty big deal, though, didn't he? I think he did. So I'm not going to comment on that, but I think he signed a pretty big deal. Tommy Baffy goes, Phil is a Toronto fan, not an Islanders fan. That is his biggest deception.
Maybe.
X-Fun 3414 says, and don't forget to hit that like button, people.
That's right. Hit the like button. Rocky and Muggsy, says Matthew S.
Freedom for Adventure goes, TJ, please don't forget to have a special guest we discussed for the call-in show. Grumpy wished the warden a blessed and happy 29th birthday from her favorite Freedom. We will.
I'm not sure what special guest you're talking about, Freedom, but David.
I think Lou is offering a 1-year membership to the Jelly of the Month Club to stay as GM of VP.
Well, that's pretty intriguing.
Or what the heck was that? What was that thing that every Christmas they would have it? Something Farms. Used to see them in the mall.
Farms.
No, not Pepperidge Farms. That's a cake. No, it's something else. I forget. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, whatever. Tommy Babbitt says, Isles Den, you are doing a good job, by the way. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Tommy.
He must think that you're in charge of the comments. That's how Tommy Babbitt gets known. He butters up people on the show to make sure his comments are read. He owns X like that. Tommy Babbitt goes, Nashville and Utah look related. Yeah, probably probably a little incest going on those two teams.
With the logos. Go ahead.
David DeJesus, we know that. David DeJesus says, I think any team like San Jose, Chicago, or even the 4th overall team will not trade their only first-round pick for next year in 2026. All the 3 teams below us are another 3 to 4 years away to be a contender of this league. As for us, I think it will only take 2025 and 2026 before the Islanders are back. Jay says, the Utah polygamists. The mascot is a Joseph Smith along with 20 wives.
Be tough to get everything in there.
They have one of those Smith relatives owns the team. Tommy Babbitt says, Schaefer is the only player in this draft who would be top 5 in the 26th draft and likely number 2. That's why you pick him. He's the best player by far in this draft. John McDonough says, only thing with Schaefer is he's comparable to Makar Coffee. He's not comparable to Bobby Orr. He would have been 10A forever. I want him, but I'm not putting him in that company. He reminds me of Makar. That's who he reminds me of. Drew says, Why he's not Bobby Orr? There's no Bobby.
Okay, only thing with Schaefer is if he's comparable to. You read the comment on it. Drew says here, why do you feel like Grumpy is just tired or tried to do his voice impression of Consuela from Family Guy? Yeah, that impression is right though.
No, that was me. That was Jar Jar Binks, Misa.
It was a bad one. But
all right, maybe it's a bad one. So what?
Freedom Fund Adventure says Colorado is primed to slide. I believe this too. They have cap and roster issues. In 2026, Hagen's likely to fall to 15 to 24. I just don't believe that. It's a really deep draft, and the Grumpy who wasn't under the influence of Phil would tell you to stockpile. Okay. Here's the thing. If Hagens comes out next year, his second year in college, a year after his draft class year, and he puts up 60 points, it's crazy how quick everybody says, wow, Hagens definitely should have been the first overall pick. He was a point-a-game guy, as the youngest kid in college. He performed really well in the under-20s for the World Juniors. He definitely still has it. He may not be as talented as some of the kids in next year's draft, but he's definitely a guy where if he slides, you trade up and select the guy.
How far does he have to slide before you try to make a trade?
If he slides, further than fourth, I'm doing everything I can to make that happen. Even if he slides to fourth, I'm still asking.
Okay. But I don't believe – I mean, if they're in love with the Hagens kid, that's my point. If they feel they must have him, I'm okay with trading the second first-round pick because you can reload with those going into next year. You can. And I think they should.
Oh, man. Boys, let's wrap things up. My God, it's already 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oof, man. We met on much happier terms this time. Lou is gone, most likely. Maybe he comes back. That would add to another twist to the tale. Next episode, next podcast we have all together. And the Islanders won a draft lottery, so much happier terms. Jack, what do you want to say before we sign off here today?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And I got to find a way to communicate with Grumpy between now and the end of the month, just in case some crazy things happen.
Hey, there are people who have my number, so you can absolutely get that number if you want.
You have a Twitter though, right?
Yeah, I do, but
you don't use it though.
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, you never get in touch with them on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I'm following you. Am I not?
Let me check. I don't know what's your username?
I don't even know. Hold on, let me see. I do have it up here. It's called The Grumpy Old Man. Oh, at _OG_Grumpy. I'm only following 8 people. So
I got it. There we go. Yeah, you got it. He had 93 followers. Oh, you retweeted on April 10th. You're on.
Okay. I don't know if I have you as – I don't have you as a follower, though.
No, I just followed you.
Follow them, Grumpy.
Well, I'll try to follow you, I guess, however that works.
No, you're good. I didn't know you tweet a little bit, though. Better luck next decade, Isles fans.
Yeah, that was the last one. I know. It's been a while. It's been a while. I am gonna start tweeting more, so I will. But awesome. I keep on saying that, but I never do. Yeah. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Well, particularly the mothers, only the mothers. And love and laughter from everyone who listens, from TJ, the grumpy old man, Son X and Absentia, and Jack from Isles Den.
There it is. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the show. Thanks for everybody tuning in to the live stream. I'll be happy once we finally name our new GM and all this craziness of Lou maybe sticking around. It's gone. I'll be happy. That's when I feel like I can finally put this Lou nonsense to rest. But the longer we wait, the more impatient I will grow, and the more worried I will grow, Grumpy. That is for certain.
God, stop.
Next live stream.
Stop buying into the gaslighting of the fan base from some loose cannon maniac.
I don't know. Once we start getting to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks without a GM, I'm starting to worry. They truly can't be trying to look at cost that much, could they, Grumpy?
God, just stop.
Anywho, thanks so much, everybody, for listening to the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be with you guys next time. Next episode will be a call-in, and maybe it's on a Friday night. Who knows? Grumpy and I will coordinate it. But thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thanks so much, Jack, for jumping on. You can find all of Jack's information again in the link in the description below. So you can find his Twitter. You could find IslesHouse, the podcast that he's on. You can find that link in the description below, as well as the Spotify link on that side. So you want to get more Islanders content, you got an itch for Islanders content, make sure to check them out. Thank you so much, Grumpy. Thank you so much, Jack, and we'll be with you guys next time.
Next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.